Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Coach Greg Adams back in here with another YouTube live stream. Shout out to the Coach Gang.
And that's you.
For being in here, being involved, and being active on this YouTube channel. And welcome back to Monday Night Roski, the longest running episodic program and live stream here on YouTube. You in here with the Bruce Wayne of this ish, the King of Kings, the King of Content, and the Speaker of Truth, yours truly, the Notorious One, aka Mr. Coachellini, better known as the prognosticator, Coach Stradamus. And you're in the Desert Storm Bunker with Hollywood CGA, also known as EWF. That is every woman's fantasy in the whole fucking show. I'm the CEO Niggero of Fixes Binds LLC, the unbinder, the undebatable, the undisputed best entertainment here on YouTube. You can call me Senor Gregorio Graybeard. The ladies love to call me Mr. Third Leg Greg.
Just phenomenal.
Also the man with one trabajo, that is the ecclesiastical Mitch Slapper. You're looking at the anointed one.
Acknowledge me.
The founding father of the After Pill, the junior college sociologist, the Morpheus of the Beatty Matrix, the chocolated Confucius, the Black Moses, the deliverer. I'm also known as the man that ecclesiastically walks in the spirit of Elijah. I'm the man with more nicknames than anyone in the game. But in case you forget those names, just call me the benevolent monarch, CGA, see God Allah. You're looking at the reigning, defending 14-time demonetized champion of YouTube. We got a great show for you lined up today here on the Coach Greg Adams channel. We're going to be live streaming here over the next couple of weeks and months, bringing this channel back to life. We got a great show for you lined up today on 50 Shades of Greg, the dark psychology of female seduction that most men won't accept and most women won't admit. We're going to go into it in detail, and we're going to give you an opportunity to contribute to this conversation via call in. I know you were worried about calling in later. You guys will be able to call in and add your commentary to this particular topic. Obviously, if you disagree, we would love to have you, but we're going to give you some rules of engagement for calling in into today's show. But this should be an interesting conversation related to female seduction, the dark side, the dark psychology, the undercurrent issues that men and women deal with in the dating and romance, flirting, lust, and sexuality that our Western culture, what we can't really talk about. We really can't talk about these realities. It's kind of an unspoken contract. But of course, if you misplay or misplay your hand, if you misstep, you know, and you can have some problems here. And you can ask one Andrew Tate in this situation. He was leading with seducing women and then getting them to be on the blade or do OnlyFans, and then ultimately that backfiring. And it can backfire in a multitude of ways. I always say there's a thin line between female dark side seduction and arousal, okay, domination and dominant sex, and domestic violence. All right, there's a thin line between it, and this is what gets men and women in trouble in our world today, because we have something, we're going to talk about this later, but we have something that gets us in trouble. And I think most men don't understand what's going on here. They're being played. All of us are being played, because women, no matter what roles that they serve, whether they're your mother, whether they're a mother of your children, whether they're a teacher, or whether they're in some sort of a stable role in a career, there's also the underlying current of their dark psychology. All right. And that also plays a role in their day-to-day contact with men and so forth and so on. So it's always ongoing, but of course we're supposed to bury it and be professional. And we know that people can't bury it and be professional. It's always going to bubble up or be on the surface. And then once people play into it, well, if it doesn't go your way, well, then somebody's gonna say they were taken advantage of, or they were misled, or they were seduced, and this type of thing. We also see this with teachers, female and male teachers, with female and male students. We see a lot of seduction levels going on there, where the teacher might fall in love or be seduced by the male student, or even the young female in the situation might seduce a male teacher, where she's just playing, right? She's just playing, or she has a fantasy or a crush, or she's infatuated with this teacher. And of course, he's supposed to be the responsible one and not overstep that line, even though she might look like a mature woman. Well, she's not. And this is where people get in trouble, playing the game of seduction, playing the game of tease, flirtation. So we're going to talk about this and some things that men won't accept, because it's going to get nasty in here. It's going to get nasty. But to contribute to today's show, $ the Notorious CGA on the Cash App, Venmo, Coach Greg Adams TV. PayPal is paypal.me/Coach Greg Adams, and that is near the top of the description box on the Free Agent Lifestyle channel, when you can still super chat. Actually, it's the Coach Greg Adams channel, and you can super chat by clicking the link on the bottom of the live chat on the Coach Greg Adams channel. All right, I stream over here every now and then, Warren Tuesday, here's and there's these, but we're going to get it over here. Get it on. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to see if there's any earlier contributors. And then if not, people are getting off of work. They're wondering if this is real. Are we live? Yes, we're doing it live over here.
We'll do it live. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right, I'll write it and we'll do it live too. Shout out to you. We'll do it live. And we're going to get into the nature of dominant sex. Where most men miss out. I'm going to give you clues of where most men miss out as well. Shout out to our brother here. It is KP, says, Guru, I missed you, sir. I plan to stay. Why is this loser strategy? If I'm paying, I'm going to be bringing girls in and warn them. If I'm paying the rent at $1,500, how can I afford to date or travel or trick? He says, what would you do as a young man? Well, let's see here. You pay the rent, $1,500. How much do you make? You left that out. All right, you maybe not make more than $1,500, but obviously, if you are planning to bring women into that parent's house, you better make sure you have that clearly communicated that you're going to do that, and they're supposed to hide. All right, are we back? What happened? The stream went left. Everybody can hear me. Press 1 if you can hear me. I don't know what happened there. Are we good now? Let me see. Am I frozen? It's the Coach Greg Adams channel. They're like, oh, he's back over here. What this nigga doing back over here? All right, we're good. They're like, I thought we got rid of this Negro. So we're good to go. But yeah, shout out to you, man. I think, you're going to have your parents, because, what if the woman comes over at 7:30? What are your parents going to do? You got to tell them to go to their bedroom. All right, mom and dad, go to your bedroom. Don't make a sound. She doesn't know I live with my parents. All right, and she shows up and she's like, what's in this room? Oh, and then your parents drop the tea glass all over the goddamn floor, and you're like, God damn. It's quite nerve-wracking. Quite a nerve-wracking event. So, you got to bring your hoes in at 9:30 and 10:30 when their parents are going to bed. And, of course, tell dad don't go up and get a glass of milk, all right, at 10:30 while you're putting your Mac down. Interesting strategy there. But, we've all been there. We've all been there. $1,500 is not going to give you much of a property. Maybe getting a roommate. I don't know. $1,500 you're paying into the mortgage. I don't know why you're paying into your parents' mortgage. I mean, it's their mortgage, not yours. You don't get any credit for that unless you're getting the house back when they die. Interesting. There's a lot going on there. A lot to unpack. It's hard to unpack that amount of information there. Okay. All right, shout out to our brother here. Let's see here. Did I get some people over here on the Venmo love? Let me see if there's some Venmo love, and we're going to kick the show right off. We're going to get into it, man. And somebody said we were having some problems earlier. All right, they're like, God damn it, I thought this nigga would have gave up already. But we don't give up. All right, so let's get into it. In relationship to how men see women today, especially young men, inexperienced men under 40. And we're seeing that more and more men are having this failure to launch, studied adolescents, senior citizens. They're not moving into the relationship dynamics very quickly because they live at home with their parents. They might find some troubles dating women. They might be, one of these guys that withdraw from society and fall back, or fall out of society. So they have trouble understanding women. And now what I've always told you can understand women or you can love them. You cannot do both. So I choose to be understanding of women. It makes it difficult to love them, though. And one of the reasons why is Sigmund Freud came up with this concept, the Madonna whore complex. And this is one of the most frustrating things that men experience, especially as a young person. All right. And I'm going to put this picture up here. The Madonna whore complex. We hear a lot of this in the manosphere. All right. Male, and not even the manosphere, just male content creators in general. And particularly when it talks about women that are sexualizing themselves, selling themselves. You have men that are saying, let's just call it what it is, prostitution, right? So they want to classify the woman as the whore. but because they can't do it, it frustrates them. And they don't know where to put the woman. Remember, men want to draw conclusions. Men want to find solutions. Men want to, when men are presented with a problem, they want to solve the problem. Women don't operate like this. They want to kind of discuss the problem, remix the problem, test the problem out, have a powwow, a meeting. Men want to get right to it. And this is a case of men trying to solve problems. A woman's presented in front of you. We want to either categorize her as Madonna or whore. All right. And so all men are doing this. And some men that are frustrated by women are finding that they have a tough time of placing women in this particular split, or they're having a conundrum of who they desire more. All right. They're expressing their desire for their woman to be a whore for them only, but they want her to be a Madonna and present herself as covered up and, we heard this earlier with the Andrew Tate interview, covered up and modest and this type of thing. But then when she's in the bedroom, she's a freak. We've also heard it as a freak in a lady in the sheets and a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. This is a Madonna whore complex where they want the woman to be classified as one or the other. All right. Now, this is the difficulty of it. In early relationships, you're trying to get to know the person. You're trying to automatically put her in there to see what's up. Okay, if she's on the Madonna side, the white side, you're automatically going to say, oh, I'm going to date her. I'm going to have a relationship with her. I'm going to make love to her. I'm going to hold her hand. I'm going to kiss her. But if you meet her and she's on the red side, all right, she's dressed in red, you're immediately like, I'm trying to have sex with her. I want to bang her out, back shots, cream pie, this type of thing. So you're automatically doing this when you meet women. Now, the problem with that is because women wear certain uniforms, you might think that a woman that is on the white side, on the plain side, is not a whore. Okay, you're like, she can't be a whore, coach. She's dressed in all white. She's dressed like a bookworm. She's dressed like a nerd. She's not dressed like a freak. Whereas the other woman, you can clearly see, oh, she's dressed like a schizoid. She can't be a good woman. She probably has been ran through. You see what happens here? Men, in their effort to solve the problem as fast as possible, we automatically put these women in these boxes and categories. And oftentimes we're mistaken. This is going to be a big mistake. Okay, because I've been with women who are dressed like Madonna and are whores. I've been with women who were whores, dressed like whores, and they were Madonnas. Okay, it is not always the case. Remember, anything that I say is not always the case, but it is generally true. There's always going to be an exception that proves the rule. But yes, I've been with bookworm, nerdy type chicks that wanted to get cream pied and choked and spanked and whooped. Okay, whereas a woman that is dressed like a freak, maybe not necessarily from the beginning. It was maybe a little bit, she might have to open up and warm up to it. She might be a sexual prude. All right. And she might dress like this to get the attention, to just get the attention from men. So this is going to be a major mistake for men using this to measure women. We hear this with the high body count. And this is an example of Madonna whore complex. This woman has a high body count. She's useless. This woman has a low body count. She's good. She's marriageable. All right. This is going to be a mistake as well, because a woman who is dressed modestly in a Madonna, she might not have gone through her whore phase. She might go through her whore phase after she has first child. She might discover herself in her sexuality after having children. And thus, you see her as a good woman. You would never defile her. Well, guess what? She's going to need somebody to defile her. That's when she goes out and cheats on you. She had a low body count. She's a good mom. Now she's opened up about her sexuality. She read a couple of smut magazines and books. And now, boom, she's out there and you get caught off guard. Same thing as a woman that is dressed not as modest. You automatically write her off as somebody you would see clap her cheeks in a cheap motel and tell nobody about it. Or you'll tell people about it and ruin their reputation. And therefore, then you're actually confused as to why someone would marry this woman. Okay. You're going to find that somebody would marry the woman that represents herself in the red. All right. And you will be like, how could a person marry her? And she can turn into the Madonna for that person. Okay. So it is quite complex. I call it the spectrum. So Sigmund Freud originated this. I call it the spectrum, that women operate on a spectrum. They're never really a Madonna all the time, and they're never really a whore all of the time. Okay. Good girls can be freaks, and whore 304s can be prudes. So Yeah, I mean, they could be a 304 to everybody, somebody else, but not a 304 to you. So I call it the spectrum. They operate on a spectrum. Depending on who she's dealing with, they might see her as a variety of shape-shifting qualities and stuff like that. You might see her as a variety of things. Oh, she's a good Christian church woman, and she's dutiful, and she's God-fearing. Another person might know her as a late-night hype. Right? You never, same woman, same day, just depends on where she is and the time of day. All right, so that is where a lot of people get confused. And every single woman is a little bit of both, if not both, going in. All right, so that's what's happening there. Now, the thing is, when you're talking about seduction, a lot of people might get confused as to who we're talking about. And I'm going to clear this up. We're talking about young women in seduction. Young women in seduction. When it comes to older women, they might be able to be in the art of seduction for a younger man, but not in man their age or older. All right. Very rarely can those women pull it off because they're pulling it off from a perspective of they're chasing some sort of companionship and love and interest. They've already been through that gamut. They've already ran through those years of adventure. And you might hear them say, I've been through that. I've flown myself to Paris. I'm just ready to settle down. I'm looking for a dash you guy. Their efforts are less seductive. All right. Less seductive. And of course, especially if they're experiencing getting naked with a bunch of men, they're not going to go through a long phase of seduction. All right. It's just going to be, hey, let's take you to the back and peel clothes off. So when it comes to older women in seduction, there are some examples of this in our culture. We have Mrs. Robinson. We have the MILF woman on American Pie, where they are seducing men, but they're oftentimes young men. All right. It is very rare in our culture where we have an older woman seducing a man her age or older. All right, you go figure. Now, when it comes to younger women, we talk about younger women who are students. They're learning the art of seduction. They're learning how to play. They're learning how to seduce men and control men by giving them empty promises and false promises and misleading them and double entendres, teasing you and, I'll do anything for you and this type of thing. And also doing this to older men. I'll wash your car. We have movies and themes that have this. Teacher, what can I do to get my grade up? And we're just assuming that this woman's saying this legitimately as a Madonna. And you just wouldn't think that that woman's young enough to understand that as a whore, but she's approaching this as the whore, all right, for 100%. And you're going to say, no, that's not the case. Oh, yes, it is the case. It is very dark. So when we're kind of talking about younger women, we're talking about women of the age of majority and up to 28. Their level of seduction is they're learning, they're experimenting, they're actually trying to get men their age and sometimes even older, but their age to give them their result where they can't tell you what they want. You have to kind of intuitively know what it is that they want and then instill this in them. You got to lead them down this level of seduction. Now, a lot of guys can't deal with this. They can't accept this because they would want women to just say, tell us what you want me to do and I'll do it. Well, this is not seduction. All right. For a woman to come up and say, I want you, hey, you, I see you at the bar. Here's a drink. I'm going to let you bend me over. I'm going to grab my ankles and then you're going to pull my hair and choke and spank me. This is not okay. This does not make them moist or wet. It doesn't make them interested. It doesn't lead to anything relatively interesting for them to get excited about. So this is where most men miss out. They want the woman to take the lead. Well, in seduction, the man almost inevitably takes the lead, whether he does this physically, mentally, or verbally. All right. He's going to be the one to establish the tone. And the tone is not planned out. So for a lot of men where they miss out, they're going to plan this out and try to do these steps. And they're going to read a couple of books and you're going to come out here and you're going to fumble. You're going to fall on your face. Once men get experience, this is how men who are older are able to seduce younger women. Why? Because they're experienced. All right. They've been through it. They've been through many dates. They've been through love. They've been through heartache. They've been through pain. They've been through sex already. They've been through sex with younger, pretty attractive women. They've already been through it, so they can be calm. They can be present. They can be mature about it. And there's a couple of other things that we're going to talk about. So oftentimes an older man can quite easily seduce a younger woman. All right. And that's because he has experience. He's calm about it. Now, if you're young, you're trying to go through the paces and not mess up and trying to remember your next step. Women can feel that. Right. And then it's going to be less seductive. One more thing I want to talk about that's going to be very important and vital is that when it comes to the conversation about game, rich men, poor men, a lot of people are missing the level of the dark psychology of female seduction in this, in that people might say a man that is rich is able to do this easily, or maybe not. He has to pay for it. And they're not understanding that there's a level of seduction that the rich man can pull off, even though he has money. Even though he might spend money, even him buying roses and sending a black car to get her picked up is seduction, right? It provides a level of safety and security in the woman, and it assures her that he can be trustworthy and that he's going to take care of her. Just because he spent money doesn't mean he's not seducing her. All right, spending money is a part of seduction. Now, a poor man may not spend any money and he can still be seducing her. Now, where guys get it mixed up is they'll say, I know a poor man who's very successful with women. What you're not understanding is that poor man is seducing her. He's able to seduce her. He's able to do those things that give her a thrill. It doesn't matter about the money. Okay. Same thing with the rich guy. Yeah, he actually did some things to make her save using money, but the money wasn't the thing that made her open her legs and allow him to seduce her. So that's where guys get these concepts wrong, and they want to make it black and white and just make it stick. Madonna, whore, trick, rich, poor, trick, didn't pay. Oh, it was the money. It was the this. It was the height. It was the, when it's not that easy to just say boom, boom, and say A, B. So what happens is a man that has money can seduce a woman, old or young. A man that has no money can seduce a woman. A man that has no money has the ability to never seduce a woman. And a man that has money has the ability to never seduce a woman. Okay, so doesn't really matter. Seduction still is taking place. Now, just because the guy doesn't have money doesn't mean he's not able to seduce. So he can be a very big, he can seduce a woman very successfully and have a twin bed mattress, all right, on the floor. And depending on the type of woman he's dealing with, there's a level of seduction to that. Some women like certain things. Some women like other things. Women are not really 100% the same across the board here. So you can't say all women are going to fall for this particular thing and all men are going to be able to do this particular thing and it's going to work. What we have to understand is that when men get involved in this level of dark side psychology with women, some women go for it, some women don't. And for a man, that's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal at all. So let's go to the next slide here, where we're going to talk about something that gets a little bit dark. And this is female grape fantasy. This is stuff, again, men won't accept and most women won't admit. Let's look at female grape fantasies. You would be quite astonished. I've done some streams on this over the years. Is this seduction? Well, we can talk about how this plays a part in some things, but fantasy plays a major part in the woman's psyche. A lot of times when they're dealing with men, they're dealing with the fantasy of men. All right. When a woman's dealing with a man, she's dealing with the fantasy and the idea of that man, not who that man is. So she sees you might look the part of what she wants close enough. Level 1 attraction. That allows seduction to take place. She's attracted. Number 2, she's thinking of the idea of you. Okay, you look a certain way. You're strong, you're muscular, you're tall, you're affluent. That idea is what she's getting seduced by. Well, before you even open your mouth, well, the way you carry yourself, the way you walk, your facial expressions, she might mention these things. Oh, you winked, your smile, the way you walked, the way you stood up, the way you picked up a napkin, right? The way you picked up a wine glass. These are the ideas of you. These have nothing to do with what you said. She's already wrapped herself around these ideas. All right. I bet you he can pick me up. I bet you he can do X, Y, and Z. So this is where guys start thinking about, what do I need to say to her? My pickup line. Let me just tell you, in many cases, the woman has already figured you out in the first 10 to 15 minutes, in her dark psychology, in her mind, in her flirtation, in her imagination of you. And you're either in or out right there. Now, can you get in? Sure, you can get in. It's going to be tough. But what you say is less important than what you do, how you carry yourself, what you're wearing. Yes, what you're wearing. She might like niggas that dress like gangbangers and thugs. There's some women like that out here. She might like guys that wear a suit, all right, and wear a properly tailor-made suit. For me, because of my build, it tends to be turtlenecks and mock turtlenecks, in the way they fit my shoulders, and they accentuate that, right? So typically when I wear tight shirts like this tends to yield better results for me. When I wear button downs and this stuff, it makes me look swallowed up in it. It doesn't curve to my body, contour to my body. So I typically don't do very well with high collars and button ups. All right. So I know this. I've known the response that I've gotten from women. So I tend to want to wear those more than others. Now, when it's hot in the summer in Las Vegas, I can't do that. So I have to find something similar that benefits that. Now, since it's the idea of the man, that means the idea that they have of you, they fantasize about that before they meet you. Somebody said tattoos. Yes. Man in a uniform, men with tattoos. These all play into the idea of you. All right. A man with a beard, a man with a full head of hair and a beard, a man with a salt and pepper beard. They're already, before you opened your mouth, they've already pegged you. Pause. They've already pegged you in some sort of fantasy. And it could be, I had one woman, she's like bald with a beard. Some women are like that. You might think that they don't like that. Some women are like bald with a beard. That's my thing. All right. I had a woman in Asia. She liked to sniff my armpits. All right. I mean, and she was like, did you go take a shower yet? No, I'm gonna shower. Don't shower yet. She wanted to sniff my armpits. So there's something to be said about this. And you can't really determine what this is until you become intimate and close with them and go through the layers of seduction with them. Okay. So, let's talk about this tough conversation. Research shows that 31 to 62% of women experience fantasies of being forced or overpowered during sex. Okay. Okay. 31 to 62%. While that is broad, when you break down why you get to that number, it's very interesting. Women fantasize about being forced and overpowered during intimacy. For most, these thoughts happen a few times a year. Psychiatrists note that these mental scenarios are common, safe, and distant from real world abuse. AKA,
I like to get dominated.
I like to
choked, whooped, spanked, told what to do. I need a man to take charge and let me just, be goofy.
Okay, so a lot of men won't understand or admit this. Won't understand this or accept this. A lot of women won't openly admit this. Now, until you become intimate with them or you play a certain role of seduction with them, they might tell you this. They might say, I like the way you took the lead. I like the way you were strong. I like the way you were dominant. And you can start experimenting with it up to a point. Again, if there's attraction, then there's going to be a lot of green lights for that moment. If there's not attraction and you start to attempt to do this, then you're probably going to get her to retract. All right. Like the woman did on the stage with Usher. I don't think so. All right. Not me. So this does happen. And this says right here, lifetime frequency and occurrences. Studies report that roughly 31 to 61% of women have had forced sex or great fantasies at least once. And it says right here, frequency amongst women who report them, the average rate is about 5 times a year, which, most of you guys probably have more fantasies about this type of thing more than them. And high frequency, 9 to 17% of women say it is a frequent or favorite thing. And 14 experience it weekly, 14%. So it's a favorite thing and frequent. We know that women like gangbang scenes, all right, typically of a group of men wearing tank tops. They don't have to be black, but they're black and hat backwards. We talk about dudes dressing like this, but there's some women that overly fantasize sexually about these men. And we could see this play out where they just carrying her to the room and women are just being touched by multiple men and multiple arms and they're just being enthralled by it. Now, why don't women admit this to you? Of course, your insecurities and your judgment is going to prevent you from accepting this. Okay, a lot of guys don't have the stomach and you're not ready for this conversation, especially when you put her in the Madonna complex. You made her a Madonna. All right, she's a good girl. What? She likes to be violated and by multiple black. Yeah, you ain't gonna be ready for that. You're gonna be throwing up, and men are gonna judge. And this is another reason why you find that women are not open with you. Why it's hard for you to seduce women. Number one reason, you're judgmental of women. All right, you're judgmental. You automatically go, oh, you like that? Horror. All right, harlot. You got names for them. We automatically are going to do that. And that's why women they don't take the lead, because why would they open themselves up to your judgment, especially if you're, go to school with them or work with them, or you share the same social circle, you go to the same church, you move in the same social groups. Why would they open themselves up for you judging them by her revealing her preference for getting trains ran on her? All right, that's gonna be a very big loss to them. They're like, it's not worth it. So men, especially in relationships, they're in relationships with a woman. She might say, well, I don't want to be intimate with another woman with you. All right, I don't want to bring another woman in, but she'd be more open to bring another man in. You ain't going to deal with this very well. Let's see this real quick. And it says right here, the emotional response, completely erotic. 45% respond instances they feel purely aroused during these great fantasies, which they are determined, they define it as forced and overpowered during sex. 45% report pure arousal. Both erotic and aversive, meaning that it is mixed feelings about it. Maybe they may fantasize about it and then feel like, that was, or there was an aversive response. These guys jumped out at me and they tried to take me and pin me and hold me down. Or it was a mix of it. They were also enthralled by this. There's cases in actual grapes where women were aroused, all right, meaning that they were prepared to get stuck, if you will, with natural lubricant. All right. So even though that they were being forced into the act, they may not look like they were putting up a fight and they were quite aroused by it, but it was still forced and they still didn't want it to happen per se. All right. But they still were like, but it might not have looked like it. And so a lot of guys get caught up in, hey, she didn't look like she was not liking it. Plus, she was wetter than Niagara Falls, and boom, but she could still say it as it's not what she wanted. She can remove the consent afterwards, or she could say, yeah, it gets very tough. It gets very tough, but you're seeing it there, even though it is a forced situation. Some women might find it both erotic and aversion. 46% bring mixed feelings of arousal and distress or guilt. Woo-wee! So guilt plays a part in it as well. Some women are in the Madonna phase. Maybe they're raised to be a Madonna, but they also are guilty about this because maybe Christianity. You shouldn't be looking at this type of smut and reading this. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't feel this way. You shouldn't want a train ran on you. There's a lot of societal guilt placed upon us by our cultures and our religions, our cultures, our gods. So we will feel a certain way. You guys experience this when you have auto arousal and you are manipulating yourself to climax. Well, initially you might feel that this is a sin. You might feel that God is watching you and will punish you as a result. You might feel guilty about this based on your religious experience, and thus this might have a psychological effect on you of enjoying it. Although it's pleasurable, you might feel bad about yourself afterwards, aka feel guilty. Let's go ahead and go to the next conversation related to this. As we're going to matriculate the ball downfield, that's a reality that most men don't understand. All right. They will never accept this, and not a lot of women will admit it. So here we go with the next one right here in terms of prawn. I'm sorry, in terms of smut. So and smut and prawn. So we know about the forced issue of how many women are dealing with this, but now the consuming of explicit fiction, aka they call it smut. It says it's driving a massive portion of a $1.5 billion romance and romanticy book market. Approximately 82% of all romantic readers are women, and market shift shows that a significant portion of this readership actively purchases books with explicit sexual content, often referred to as spicy books or smut. All right. There is a major market for this of women of all ages. 85% of surveyed women reported reading smut regularly, 31% reading explicit fiction for more than 10 hours per week. Okay. And another one says that the average reader is 42 years old. This is your Madonna turning into a smut. The core demographic is now women age 18 to 44, who make up 44% of the buyer's marketplace. And it is dominated by women, with the U.S. more than doubled in the last 3 years, surging from 18 million books to over 39 million books annually, with women purchasing the vast majorities of these titles. It says right here, why do they prefer it more than watching video porn? Well, 51% of women who read explicit fiction use it as a safe space to explore taboo fantasies, kinks, and complex emotional dynamics without judgment. There it is, judgment. Well, if they're watching a video or logging into something, judgment. Well, if they look like they're reading a book or listening to a book on tape, all right, a book on audio book, you don't know that. She's sitting on a plane getting aroused and wet, all right, and listening to this dynamic material here. Unlike mainstream visual porn, which is often optimized for quick physical arousal, written smut embeds explicit scenes with a broader narrative, prioritizing emotional tension. Tension's important in seduction, character development, and female pleasure. So the female is focused on the focus of being pleased in these particular materials, whereas you find that video erotic material, the man is going to be primarily the person being pleased, all right, more than likely. And then the mental foreplay, again, the idea of you. Many women report using audio erotica or romance ebooks as mental foreplay to help transition out of daily stressors or childcare mode and all of that. All right, to ease in to the mindset of physical intimacy. We've heard that women want to warm themselves up to the act. So it is very hard and difficult for a woman to want to get fast and furious. Now, that is not always the case, but that is pretty much going to be the case generally. Women need to be warmed up to it, as opposed to men, we're almost ready to go. That plays into why women, number one, in this case, want to like the idea of you. All right, they want to know the idea of you before getting into it. Now, this is where men play into it, where they understand this. The men who don't understand this are going to struggle getting into this. Okay, we have a woman explaining the Madonna horror complex, which we've already thoroughly done. That is okay. Should I do this yet? Okay, let's talk about this. So where men lose in this conversation. Number one, judgmental men. We talked about this. Men who judge women on what they like sexually, or if they're sexually promiscuous, or if they sell, or they're a sex worker. They want to report these women. They want to call them out. This is a very immature stance by men. This is going to drive and repel women away from you. This is going to have them least likely to be willing to be seduced by you. This is going to make you less successful in seducing women. Now, I'm not promoting that you're doing it. What we're doing is breaking down what's happening here. You're going to be least likely and least successful at doing this. And even if you attempt to do it, your facial expressions and your judgments after the act is performed is going to tell on you. So you're going to kick them in the booty hole. You're going to call them all kind of wenches and 304s and schizoids. You're going to kick them out of the crib. You're going to be like, I can't believe you did that nasty shit. You know, when you're immature, you're going to do this type of thing. You'll start to report what the woman did to your friend circle. You start to sharing pictures of her in the prom, you know, the acts that you did of her. You might even talk about a little locker room talk. You might point her out in the corner and say, this is what you did to her. You went down the back of her throat and she did this and she licked you here. And so at this particular point, this is why you're going to be less successful at doing it. You're looking at women as a Madonna. Okay. And then when they turn out to be a whore, you need to tell everybody about it. When you turn out to be a sex worker, you need to expose and tell people about it. One of the disappointing things about me to the manosphere is they thought I was going to be on this kick of exposing women. I'm going to go out here and have situations with women and come out and expose them. And I didn't do it. And so now they are angry and pissed about that I've fully indulged in accepting women for who they are, not coming out here to self-report and report about them as an immature guy would do. Okay, so judgment is one of the things that I'm going to limit guys. Okay, the judgment. Now, the next thing that's going to hurt you is you're unsure. But this comes with experience, but being unsure around women is going to make them clam up in a multitude of ways because they're assuming you're going to be a man. Now, we live in an interesting culture where the definition between man and woman is some sort of just basically transferred to each other, but they're still looking at you as a man. So if you are unsure, if you're not taking the lead, of course, you're not confident, you're not direct with them, they're not going to be open to anything seductive with you. Okay. They're not going to explore their dark fantasies with you. Okay, they're not going to do it. They're not going to share their more intimate details. They're not going to be willing to go down on you and take you to the back and give you the business. They're not going to be able to, trust and believe that you're going to take care of them in that situation. So if you are unsure, you're not nonchalant, but you're passive, you can still be intimate with this woman. All right, but you're not there. The level of seduction is going to be in the toilet. This happens with older women and older men, people that have been in long-term relationships. She's unsure about you. She can be intimate with you and marry you and be in a relationship with a person who doesn't have the ability to be seductive. Okay. And we'll talk about that and show that later. So you're indecisive. You don't make a move. You don't take the lead. You're not doing any of these things. You're unsure. You don't know when to make a move. You done sat around for 2 or 3 hours and didn't make a move. And then she finally leaves and then texts you, well, I was waiting for you to make a move, but you didn't. And you're like, damn, I didn't see the signs. Well, because you didn't see the signs, because you're inexperienced and immature, well, you didn't get there. Okay. Now, this is not an overnight thing, which I'm going to tell you, man. The seducing women to me is not like something you do. You meet her and then you turn this into some sort of seduction and you fuck her. Could it happen? Sure. But most of the time it's repetitive. Remember, it's a fantasy. It's an idea of her, that idea of you. So this is going to take place over a multitude of days or hours. All right. It's not going to be something that you're going to, I missed out and I fucked it all up. Well, you messed it up from the beginning anyway. All right, you messed it up from the beginning anyway. You were unsure. You didn't take the lead. Maybe you were judgmental. Maybe not judgmental of her, but maybe she tested you out and said, I have a friend that got ran through. All right. And you might say, oh, that nasty fucking whore slut. Well, she tested you. That was her that got ran through. And now you done called her all kind of 304s and trick tramp sluts. And now she's like, yep, this guy's judgmental about women who are promiscuous. I'm definitely not going to do anything crazy with this guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, this plays into it. You might think, you didn't see that coming, but that was a test. She wanted to see what you felt about women that do nasty shit. My friend got a train ran on her. Oh, that nasty bitch. Oh, man, what type of bitch get a train ran on her? Oh, this ain't the nigga. All right. All right. This ain't him. You see what I mean? Like that's how women move and operate. They're never going to be direct. They're never going to put themselves in the target. They're going to put other people up. They're going to test you and see what you think. They might even say, you know, my nasty friend, she cheated with X, Y, and Z, and she talking about her, and then wants to see how you think about it. All right, it's what it is. All right, they're not going to put themselves up for judgment. They're going to put somebody else up, especially if they know you can't vouch and verify, obviously. So judgmental men and unsure men, and we all have been this unsure man, and we all could be using some coaching. You know, that's why we have dating coaches. You know, I go in on dating coaches all the time because they try to simplify things. And, you know, I know the fake coaches from the real coaches. They'd be like, oh man, you know, it's about game. No, it's not. It's more about seduction, and it's less about what you say and about what you do in most of the cases. And then, of course, if we can look at the type of women that you're doing it with, it would tell me what works for you and what doesn't. All right. So if you're talking about slags and schizoids, this is coming relatively easy. Just bring some Hennessy and hookah and some weed and some lamb chops and you're good. All right. That's what schizoids do. This is not seduction at that point. It's just some sort of lust or fantasy. Not even barely fantasy. It's just pure animal instinct at that point. All right. So let's get to the next one here. Chatty Cathy's. So chatty Cathy's can be one or two things. All right. Chatty Cathy's could be a guy who talks and gossips. A guy who talks and gossips is immediately going to be turning off women. A gossiping man, a nigga that got to have somebody, man or woman's name in their mouth, is a man that is going to be less likely to be able to seduce a woman. And the reason why is she knows you got loose lips. She know you reckless about the mouth. She knows that if she does something with you, she's at risk of you gossiping about her and spreading either information or misinformation about her. So gossipy men, you see this in comment sections in Instagram where men start to express themselves and the woman starts talking about gossipy, chatty Cathy men. Well, this has to do with seduction because women are turned off and repelled about men who just talk about people all the time. It don't even have to be about women, but the fact that you always talking about some motherfucker, you're just going to repel women. They're going to call you sassy and gay. You know what I mean? They just be like, what kind of sassy nigga are you? What they're intending to say is you're not being manly about this. You're not being very, you're not fitting into my fantasy of what a man is or what my idea of a man is. Your disappointment. So a chatty Cathy who is a gossiping man, this is going to be a turn off to them. A turn off. Okay. And somebody said most people gossip nowadays, which most men, especially young men, they're gossipy. Okay. Okay. The next thing to this one, and press 1 in the chat if you're liking this particular breakdown. The next thing that a chatty Cathy would do is not only just gossip. A chatty Cathy is a man that has no mystery. He basically tells the woman everything about her. All right. I'm sorry, everything up. He tells the woman everything about him. All right. So this is going to be something that doesn't lend well to seduction. Okay. It doesn't lend well for her opening herself up. It does lend well to dating and relationships and this type of thing. A woman wants to be comfortable with you. If a woman's sitting across from you, interviewing you, there's no seduction going on there. All right. What do you do? And where are you going in 5 years? And where do you work? And there's no seduction here. There's nothing going on here. You would probably always tell you this, and I've been telling you this for a while. If you're on a date like this, man, go sit next to her. Tell her to sit next to you. Pull a chair next to you. She needs to be sitting next to you. All right. If she's sitting across from you and where are you going and where you grow up and what's your middle name, this is just, there's no seduction going on here. This is an interview. Yeah. Can you have sex with her at the end of this particular date? Sure. All right, but at this particular point, you need to take the lead. And the fact that you're not going to take the lead and submit to this torture 20 questions, eventually you're going to say something and get disqualified. She's going to start asking you about your political affiliation and shit like this. And you're going to say some dumb shit about conservatives or liberals. And then bye-bye, but to the pussy going to dry up. pussy gonna dry it up. So you don't want to be in these situations and hear guys that are unsure, inexperienced, and maybe not taking the lead, or you're not focused. You're going to be in these situations and you're not going to take the lead. All right. Somebody might say, well, what would you do in this situation? You would make sure. I was like, listen, all right, here's your drink. You push your drink towards her and say, let's have a good time. All right. Matter of fact, move over here. All right. Or let's say she's sitting over here in a chair over here. I would just grab her chair and pull it to me like this. Choom. All right, now she has an adverse reaction to that. The date's over. Oh, I don't know who you are. I'm not comfortable with you. I don't think we're moving too. I don't like to sit next to you. Ever. Just end the date. You know what? Thank you very much for your time. Pay the bill and leave. All right. Have a good luck with your future. All right. Just put yourself out of your fucking misery. This is going nowhere. Okay. But if she smiles, if she cuckoos, or she starts doing this shit, then there's seduction. You just knocked her out of there. Listen, we're not here to have this type of fun. Here's your drink. All right. Are you having a good time? How's the band? Here's the music. Come here. Get so closer to me. Here, come sit over here. All right. Start giving her directions. Let's sit over here. We're not talking about this. Sit down right here. Here we go. Right here. All right. Put your hand on her thighs. These are things that eventually you could just cut to the chase. All right. Now, if you want to start whispering in her ears, that's a whole nother level, but you got to read the room on that one. All right. But if people are going on dates, they're going to find that there's not going to be some sort of spark or interest from the man or the female if you allow it to have this barrier. All right. You allow this to have this barrier in interviewing, and you're trying to figure out, what's your middle name? If you take your middle name in the street you grew up on, that's your porn name. Man, get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. You don't want to be in dates and situations like this. Now, doesn't mean that you pulled her close to you and you let her sit next to you, that you're automatically trying to nibble on her ear and stuff like that. You might say something in passing. You're certainly not trying to get laid at that particular moment, because men that are desperate to get laid immediately, that doesn't play well into seduction. All right. You're actually losing ground on this one. While you might get her to do it reluctantly, or she might say, I kind of felt, and rush into it. She might want to do it right away. You're actually killing the seduction. Anybody knows the more familiar you get with someone, the less likely you're able to continue this level of seduction. All right. The more you make a woman wait, the more curious is about you, the more likely she's going to think about you, which goes into the next point. The mystery about you. Okay. Remember, women don't fall in love with you. You're a silhouette. Okay. She already manifested you and thought about you before she met you. In fact, if you showed up around her, she might give you some signs of interest that lets you know that you're the silhouette. Okay. You're the silhouette. You're the guy she's been thinking about. Now, if you're the guy she hasn't been thinking about, it doesn't mean you're out of the building. That means you're got to do more work, right, to get her interested. However, the woman doesn't fall in love with you. She falls in love with the fantasy of you, the idea of you. You fit into what she was thinking about when she was thinking about what her husband is, what her sexual partner, her mate is. You fell into that category, and it's going to be automatic flow. So when it comes to this, where men lose is that they leave no room for discovery and mystery. You tell her where you work. You tell her you're a social media star. I'm Coach Greg Adams. Look me up on Instagram. You want her to find you on Instagram. Okay. You want her to go back and go on Google and find you. You don't want to tell her, okay, I'm a rapper, I'm a producer, I'm an actor, I'm a this and that. You want her to, the reason why you want this is because that's going to play in the fact that she's thinking about you. She's thinking about you. The fact that she went home to Google your motherfucking ass, meaning that she was interested in knowing who you were. That plays in the art of that seduction, that friction, that natural push and pull. So you want her to go back and find information about you. You want her thinking about you, not giving her all the goddamn information. So this is why I call myself the Bruce Wayne. All right. Bruce Wayne is sort of mysterious, ambiguous. He, doesn't tell everybody what he does. He doesn't say I'm a vigilante hero. He doesn't lead with that. He leads with, his whole level of it is not being, he's more indifferent about women, mostly not interested in paying attention to them, which is sometimes draws women in. Whereas men that overly pay attention to women, they sometimes repel women. Have you been in a situation? Have you been in a situation where you showed up? You go to a nightclub, a bar, a party, house party, whatever it is. You show up and that one dude is there. He's on fire. He's like, man, I'm about to talk to all these hoes. And you see him over here and over here. He's shoving a phone in this woman's face. He's laughing and kikiing over here. He just going from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman. He's just hopping around. And you're just like, God damn, you looking at him and you like, whoo, I'm sure these women are going to be quite annoyed. Well, at the end of the night, he going to pull one of the drunk floozies. Okay. But he going to miss a lot of women. He's going to think he's putting in work, but he's repelling a lot of women. The women, now, that doesn't mean they're not going to engage with him in some sort of banner or some sort of, they're just going to be like, but that guy is not mysterious. He's straightforward. He's trying to get right to it. He's not wasting time. He might seemingly believe he's doing well, but most of the time, because he's came out on fire immediately like that, the women have immediately picked up on him, and he's not mysterious anymore. He's not interesting. You could kind of see the women are watching him doing this, going, okay, he hitting on everything. Whereas a guy who's more laid back, more confident, calm, and nonchalant, he might not talk to all the women there. He might just talk to the right one. He might not talk to any. But there might be one of the women might ask another woman about them. Only takes one, but there's 50 women in the room. There might be one woman say, who's that one guy over there? Or you might have that conversation by the middle of the night when the drinks start kicking in and everybody starts to doing this and, dancing and freaking. And then you just sitting off to the side, that one woman sitting over there, you strike up a conversation about her, and you'll get way further with that woman than the Holler Monster got him talking to 50 other women in the bar. You found that one woman and there's a vibe and a connection there. Oh, you're an introvert too. Oh, you calm and cool. Why don't you dance? Do you dance? What are your interests? And you strike up this flirtatious conversation where you can lead into some sort of flirtation or seduction. All right. It's there. So both situations work, but there's a level to that. But leaving no room for mystery. You tell them where you grew up, what's your middle name, what's your sign. These eventually, where you work, what your job title is, what your size of your shoes are. I mean, you give up all this information from the beginning, you're killing seduction. You're killing her need to know this. You want her to think, I wonder what his shoe size is. You want her thinking at home, what is his shoe size? What is his sign? You want her going through her motherfucking crystals. You want her manifesting. I wonder when his birthday is. I wonder where he was born. I wonder what his middle name is. What's your full name? All right, you done already fucked her twice. What is your full name? What's your last name? You want her thinking about that. That's going to lead in seduction. Of course, a lot of young men don't have patience for this. Y'all trying to fuck right away. All right, I think I have time for some contributions and then a couple of videos to cement my point, to get into a little bit darker shit. And if you want to pop up on the stream, let me know. Let's see here. Another mistake men make is they don't ask questions at all back as well. So that leads to the woman believing that you're not interested. With that being said, if she feels like you have no interest in her, she's certainly not going to fantasize about you. All right. There's indifference and there's interest. All right. You can be indifferent, but if you're not engaging and asking information about her, and this type of thing, she's gonna be like, he ain't interested in me. She might be thinking of you, but she's not going to think very far and invest in it if you're not interested. All right. Ace Hustle Every Day says, yes, all women are pulling a ruse on a partner. More important is, can she duck a sick? He says right here, the jock and the quiet guy smashed the same girl, free agent lifestyle for life. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And that's the Madonna horror complex. A guy that is a mouthy guy, right? A guy that's like, I holler this and I'll be doing that. That guy does not believe that the guy that doesn't run his mouth fucks girls. Okay. Not only that, he will not believe that he fucked the same girl that the mouthy guy fucked. What the way men work is that they got to see you out here putting in elbow grease and sweat equity and hollering. If they see you out on the side chilling, they believe that you're not putting in no work. You must not be pulling no hoes. But in fact, the woman in this situation, because they are complex, both of those men can have them. Now, the jock is going to brag and be like, oh, I had it. I had Sally and Susie. Whereas the quiet guy is going to sit back and not report. He ain't going to say nothing. Even when he has situations, he's not going to report. He's going to be like, yeah, And that works favorably for him. Whereas the jock's going to mess it up. All right, he's going to mess it up. He's going to have that woman one time, and then she's going to be, okay, you talked and snitch. And then she's going to go back to the guy who doesn't self-report. Okay, so that does happen, and that's where guys get it mixed up again. Oh, he quiet, he don't say nothing, he an introvert. Trust me, them dudes be cleaning house. Cleaning house. They don't really need to feel like they're going to give a report about it after the fact. All right, so let's see here. KP says, I will inherit the house from my parents. Monthly net income $4,500 as a entry engineer in aerospace. He says 1,500 suburban apartment close to a college campus, but I would eat away all of my money and allocations for other things, obviously for utilities and expenses and insurance, rental insurance, and this. So if you're going to inherit the house, it's not a bad deal because you're putting into the house that you're eventually going to own. All right. So yeah, man, shout out to you on that one. Thank you for clearing that up. And let me see if we have any Ko-Fis. We have Ko-Fis. Shout out to Rusted Junk, says skyrockets at night after pill delight. Shout out to you. Appreciate that, Rusted Junk. He put some lyrics out there. Jay Flo says, welcome back, coach, and shout out to the coach gang. Shout out to Jay Flizzo. Larry C says, I may be a math nerd, but I'm a former high school wrestler, dominator by day, dominator by night. Also, Roski. Welcome back, coach. We miss you. Hashtag the shield. Shout out to Larry C. This mine. Chad W says, welcome back, coach. China has millions of so-called leftover women. Leftover women in China look different than leftover women in America. I know a gentleman who lives and has a legitimate job in China. His side job is a male escort. He's black, muscular, tall, and well-endowed. Pause. He's rare in China, of course. He has to sleep with women that he doesn't find desirable every once in a while. I'm not sure how much Chinese women pay him. It's basically supply and demand. He found an opportunity and found a way to make money off of it. And he also says, given the circumstances in that country, it's quite lucrative. However, if the Chinese government catches him, he's going to jail for a long time. Do you think it's worth the risk? In my opinion, it's not. All right. Because who wants to go in jail with the Chinese government? All right. I don't want anything to do with it. But, he's a black man. He probably does very well. But we have to understand he's probably not making a killing. He's not becoming filthy, rotten rich from this endeavor, more than likely, because women ain't going to make you rich. But in this situation, the Chinese women in this situation, the leftover women, are most like they're the ones. They're not going to be 40 and flirty and they still got it. They're going to engage in this type of behavior. All right. It is not rare, similar to Japanese women. Once they're 40, 45, 50, they're going to engage in purchasing the desires that they want. They don't have time to be sitting around here waiting for men to scoop them up and remarry them at 40 and 50. Now, American women still have this desire and belief. It is a foolish belief. in my opinion, I would hopefully they would just engage in taking care of these young niggas and pookies and being practiced. You know what I mean? Instead of messing with these old men trying to pick them up off the dating marketplace. Go ahead and mess with these young niggas if you want. Shout out to Chad W with we call them a double sponsorship. We'll go ahead and give you that. I'm rich, bitch. Shout out to you on that one. I'm rich, bitch. Man. So he could go to jail for a long time for engaging in this type of behavior. What is the likelihood that he gets caught? You know, he may never get caught doing something like that. But, you know, is it worth it for a couple of old pieces of peace leave? I don't know. I would say nah. All right, because there's enough women in China. There's enough women to go around in China. Remember, their population is about at 1.6 billion. So that would at least mean there's 800 billion. If you take out the minor, children, females, and the elderly, well, you're looking at a good 500,000 eligible women. If you take out the married women, well, the number would be around 400,000, right? Let's say a good 400,000 available women. Well, that's just about as many American citizens that we have. I mean, that is the American population. That's how many Chinese people are available. That's how many Chinese women are available. As last I looked at it, the American population was centered around 380 million. Okay, so we're looking at that level of available women in China, all right, that are dateable, marriageable age, not old, not minors. I meant to say million. Yeah. So 300 million eligible Chinese women versus, I mean, that's the population of America. Okay. All right. 350 million Americans. That's total Americans. That's how many Chinese women will be available. Now let's do Japan. Now let's do South Korea. Now let's do Hong Kong. I mean, Chinese women, Asian women ain't never going out of style. I don't care who you hear here. That's a lot of Asian kitty cat, meow, poon out there. That's available. All right. I mean, now do the Philippines. Now do Cambodia. Now do Vietnam. Okay. That's a lot of Asian kitty. All you need, okay, let's just say, let's just round it up and take all of South Asia and Far Asia and then just round them all up. There's at least 1 billion eligible kitty cats, Asian poons of good age, 18 to 32. There's 1 billion. Now put India in that. I mean, that's another 300 million, 400 million Indian women, hairy armpit women, musty armpit women. You can't lose in that region. So you only have to, as a man, I only have to get 5. I only have to put, as an American man, a black American man in my 50s, I would have to only go over there because I can only manage 5 of these women. I can only manage 5. Like if I was really going to go after it, I can manage like 25. I have to pull 25 out of 1 billion women. No, I can't miss. There's no way. All I got to do is be financially feasible, be in decent shape. It's a score. It's a layup. I'm doing the layup drill. Just think about that. You got to have an abundance mindset. You don't need access. You don't need all of them. All you need is access to a good 5 and you good. You good. Shout out to you right there. And then if you just wanted to throw the old Asian women up there, the old Japanese, the old Chinese, all the women all the way up to 50, you're adding another 500 million to that area of the world. If you just said, I just want any Indian woman, any Japanese woman, any Filipina, I'll take a 40, 50-year-old Filipina, add another 500 million to that. You can't miss. Right? You cannot miss. You out there, you doing the mid-range game. You doing the You doing the motherfucking, what's his name? Andre Miller. Pull up. Cannot miss. All I would have to do is pull between 5 and 25 over a 10-year period. 5 or 25 of them women can't miss. Mid-range game, Sean Livingston, layup, DeMar DeRozan. It's butter. Anyway, you just have to be available to this type of shit. All right. Anyway, shout out to DG Seymour says, did you visit Miramar? So he says you didn't visit Miramar, so your trip to Asia wasn't shit. Larry C made me do it. Shout out to you. I'm rich, bitch. Yes, indeed. Shout out to you right there. That was an inside joke over from locals. Inside joke over from locals. Shout out to you right there. Oh man. Now, if you're not open-minded about this type of thing, you're gonna find that you're gonna be limited. Your mindset is gonna be limited. It is what it is. All right, let's go back to this part of the show. Let's show you some videos to keep your attention. These are allegedly some women. Maybe this is AI or not. These are allegedly some women doing a street interview about being turned on. What turns them on? By the way, these are some very young women. We're going to get into some dark subject matter here. But these are some young women. You see them right here. This one says, what red flag turns you on? What red flag turns you on? You see this nice little woman. She's a little pudgy in the midsection here, but she looks like somebody's mulatto child. Shout out to her right here. Let's see what she says right here. What red flag turns you on?
That turns you on.
The hell?
When they beat the shit out of me. Toxicity!
Okay. Is that music in the background?
Toxicity! Being like angry or aggressive.
Okay. I didn't realize there was music on this. All right. So let me go back. All right. And it's not coming through both speakers. So I don't know what's going on. So we'll read it. What red flag turns you on? And she says right here, when they beat the shit out of me. Toxicity. Being toxic or being like angry or aggressive choking. All right. That's what she's saying. Just grab it, man. That's like to use manipulation, she says. I like when he calls me nonstop. That's toxic. All right. Shit like fighting. All the time. Jealousy, one says. Just being toxic. Checking in like low-key abusive. Okay. Look at this. Oh, here. I don't know where this is. Possibly Daytona, Florida. Yeah, he smacks you and shit. Tell me like attractive if they get your hands on me around my waist and stuff. I want to chase. Somebody says beat the fuck out of you. All right. These are your daughters right here. All right. These are your daughters. Now, let me just say this. In my experiences, this is something I wouldn't brag about. I've dealt with women like this. At the JUCO. I've dealt with women like this in real life. And yes, there's some women that want you to grape them. All right. They'll say, grape me. Why don't you beat me? Why don't you smack me? Hit me on the head. Smack me so I know that this is not some sort of love thing. Put me in my place. Choke me, whoop me, spank me, pull my hair. This is very common amongst young women. This is why I talk about seduction and dark side psychology related from younger women to older women. You're going to find that older women are not going to talk like this. All right. Why? Because they kind of did this and got it out of their system. At the same time, they did it with a guy and then claimed later on to be abused by this guy. I was in an abusive relationship because what she accepted at one moment, she doesn't accept later on, or he doesn't know where the line is. Like there's an instance where a woman likes to be choked, but not in public. And you might go to thinking and you might forget and you might put your hand around her neck and she'll be like, oh, not in public. Okay. And so now she has to answer for why you put her hand around her neck. Okay. But at home, she doesn't mind it. All right. She knows that that's the playful nature that you have. But of course, if she feels like she needs to end the relationship or she doesn't like you, well, she can remove consent from this really quickly here and go back and pull out pictures of you biting on her and stuff like this. There's women who like that. Leave bite marks, leave a hickey. These are all levels of the dark side of female seduction that men won't accept and women won't admit to. These young women are admitting to it or seemingly admitting to it. And young women go through this vulnerable age of curiosity of men doing this. This is why they might choose a guy, let's say he's poor or broke. And that guy might say, well, I'm broke and women like me, or they might pay for me or support me. But that's because of the seduction. It's not because you're poor. It's not because you're poor. It's not really because you have game, but you fit the model of what she fantasizes about. Okay, you bite her, you choke her, you whoop her, you spank her, and you give her what she wants. Like, that's what it's more about. It's not because you're poor and you are maybe so magnificent. It's that you fit the model, right? That's similar to men, where if the woman looks the right way, we going to fuck her. She don't even have to say anything. She can say she got 100 body count, and we still gonna smash.
I like to get dominated.
All right, and so there's a lot of that going on there. There's a lot of that going on here. Now, unfortunately, we could not hear it, but you can see what's going on here. When they beat you, toxic. So women will report, man, out of shape, very sad. Women will report, and this is why men have to be careful what women say and listening to what they say. Because they'll say, I want a guy that simps, I want a guy that capes, I want a guy that pulls out chairs and pulls out the red carpet and tricks on me and buys me heels. She might say that and spoils me. She might say that. But what she really desires is toxic behavior. She might say, I don't want drama. She desires drama. All right. She wants you to be toxic. I don't want you to like be chasing after me and this type of thing and checking up on me. She wants that. Or she's experienced that, and she might find that in order to keep herself wet, it's that she feels good that you're checking up on her. Why? That's giving her attention. Some men don't want to do this or engaging this because this can be quite exhausting and quite confusing, because while she might say she doesn't want it, and while she might want it, that doesn't mean she's going to willingly do it. So she might say, I don't like you checking up on me, but she does like you checking up on her. And then when you commence to do it, she might say, well, I don't want to do it, and I don't want to be giving you my location, and I don't like you checking up on me, but she does. So she's liking it. It's toxic. She goes home and he's like, he really cares. He's really checking up on me. You thinking she's giving you friction, but she's into it. Dark psychology. See what I mean? You see how dark that can get? You see how time consuming that can get? This is where dudes are like, I'm getting it for free. Oh, you putting up with a lot of issues, a lot of toxicity. But let's get into the domination aspect of it. Let's get into this real quick, because it gets a little bit worse here. Someone said, I'm confused. Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. And all of this, one day she tells everybody you beat and whooped her. So let's talk about this guy. He says the 4 levels of choking, as you guys know, especially with younger women and women in general, being dominated in the bed is quite erotic to a woman. A lot of men, especially when they're younger, don't realize that their woman that they were with, they wanted you to experiment with them in some sort of domination kink. All right. It could be as minimal as pulling her hair. It could be as much as choking her. There could be levels to the choking. It could be spanking her, playing with toys, spitting down her throat, picking her up, tossing her around. We're going to talk about that. There's multiple levels of this particular kink. I mean, it goes even further than that. Tying them up. All right. Pulling straps on them. There's lots of levels to this. So a lot of men will get into their judgment about this and then forever not be having women throw themselves at them. Whereas Pookie is not less judgmental about it and is going to be willing to do it and then fulfill this particular fantasy. All right, so here we go right here. 4 levels of choking. Let's hear this brother out.
That just on the edge of the pool and they got their knees in. Okay, they're just.
He sounds kind of sassy about it too. But you know, I'm not gonna get on that. He sounds very Atlanta, but let's hear it here. A woman tells you she likes choking.
Tells you that she likes being choked. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you, fellas, is keep in mind that there are 4 different levels to choking. Okay, make sure you know which level is which. Let's get into details about them. Going first, the level 1 girlies. Okay, these are the kind of women all you're gonna do is you're just gonna grip their neck. You're not gonna apply any pressure whatsoever. Okay, they like the idea of being choked. Okay, they don't actually want to get choked. Okay, they just want to dip their toe in the water. They don't actually want to get in it. Next up is the level 2 girlies. Okay, these are the women that not only you just want to grip, but now you're going to apply some pressure. All right, but not too much where, you know, they're going over on the other side. All right, these are the people that just on the edge of the pool and they got their knees in. Okay, they're just then for the ride. They're not trying to go all the way. Up next are the level 3 girlies. Okay, these are the women that want you to choke them until they're about to get to that light. Okay, they're now these are the women that they put their whole body in the pool. All right, on terms of levels of getting choked. And then last but not least, you have the level 4 girlies. Okay, these are the women that are okay if they see the light. These are the kind of women that they're okay with drowning in the pool. All right, so make sure you know what level the woman you're talking to is. Also, I'm writing a romance novel called Friends on Wattpad. Links in the description in the bio.
All right, shout out to this guy. He's writing a romance novel. He probably is gonna. He's writing a smut magazine. All right, romantasy, if you will. Shout out to him. And what we want to do is we want to see what the bot or the women comments are in here going to say right here. So this is where you're gonna find out. All right, this is why men don't accept these realities. Trust me, as a man that has been in part of this lifestyle. Yeah, there's women that are, I know women on all 4 of these levels. Okay. And it's especially when you're dealing with short-term intimacy, it's hard to tell. All right. Because it is a workup. You got to work up to it. Okay. Sometimes you got to just place your hand around there, around that area. If she grabs your hand, she might help you out. It's not going to be on the first time you're intimate with her. May not be. It might be on the 3rd time. And then you're working her way up. Once she gets comfortable with you, she might want to see the light, as he says. And let's see what these women said in this comment here. This woman says, level 2 while getting my cat ate.
Did you eat that cat?
All right. Level 2 while getting my cat ate. Remember the Madonna whore complex. This one says 3.5. So she wants to almost see the light, almost get blacked out. When you say see the light, that means getting choked out to unconsciousness. She wants to be close to that. She's not all the way a 4, but close to a 4. This woman says, I love level 3. I also have 2 partners. So he'll be grabbing my neck while she's pouring hot candle wax on my back. Remember, fantasies. This one says, death with a side of shaming. I used to know a drowner. Sadly, I'm number 4. I want to see the light. Okay. Okay, this one says, and you got to be confident. Is this a guy or a girl? Might be a girl. And you got to be confident and get it right the first time. Otherwise, you don't get another chance. Yes, I know a young lady who complained about a guy wanting to go level 4 on her and not listening, where she was saying she's more of a level 2. And that's where I had her, level 2. She was more of a level 2, but she said the guy was going level 4 and didn't communicate with it, wasn't confident. She didn't feel safe with him. The fantasy was over and he was trying to choke her out. Okay. We have this one says, welp, I'm drowning. A woman. Welp, I'm drowning. That means a level 4. This one says, I'm dead. She says, this one says, and it's a white woman with a mulatto child, says, I've seen stars and needed help breathing after. Okay. Madonna whore complex. This is a mom. She's a Madonna, right? Well, no, she's seen stars and needed help breathing. Obviously, she has a black child. So we know that there's been a black man choking her white ass out. Nicole Simpson style. Okay, we have another older white woman says, probably level 2. I want to know I've been choked, but I don't want to feel it the next day. We have this woman that says level 4 girly, laughing my ass off. Level 4 is drowning. We have a woman says level 1. She just wants you to place her hand around the neck. All right. No pressure. Okay. This one says 2 and then 3 once drunk. There's the alcohol entering into the scenario. 2, then 3. And these are the women you're going to ecclesiastically marry. Now, once you ecclesiastically marry them, you're going to put her in the Madonna box, which means in effect, you're never going to do this with her. She might not invite you to do this with her because you might then judge her, right? You see what's happening, but she's going to lose intimacy with you. She's going to lose attraction to you. She's going to lose lust for you if you are not willing to choke her as a wife. All right. And yes, this one says, if I'm not seeing the light, he's going to see it walking. He's going to see it walking out of the door. This one says, this isn't funny. It's too aggressive to the woman you love. This is terrible. Just terrible. I'm level 2. All right. Putting up the fake front. This is horrible. Abusive to women. But now we're talking about, unfortunately, abusing women. Again, domestic violence and seduction and dark side psychology, there's a fine line. It's domestic violence if she's in a pissy mood, but it's erotic to her, or she could find it erotic and aversive at the same time, which we've discussed. And at the other side of it, if you are a person that she doesn't consent to do it, like she doesn't find you attractive, she doesn't fantasize about you, she doesn't find you seductive at all, she's completely turned off by this. Okay. All right. This is very complicated, right? Very complicated. Now let's get into this one right here. Okay. Some notes and then a couple videos. How does this happen? I mean, how is this going to go about? Remember, there's no exact science to it, meaning that what works for me with one woman may not work with me for another woman. So men that claim to be experts in this, they're going to leave out the fact that this doesn't work with every woman. Okay. You got to be honest. A man that says, I do this and I do this well. Okay. You do this well with all women. The answer is no. You cannot pull this off with one woman, with all women. So it works for me with this woman. It works for me with this type of woman. It works for me with this. It doesn't work for all women. So a man is not naturally going to be successful being seductive, using female seduction or using male seduction to seduce females with every woman. It doesn't work like that. Can a guy be more apt to do it with more women than the next guy? Yes. But it doesn't work for every woman. Like he works at work and it wouldn't work with half the women he works with, but it would work with the other half. Okay. So the number one thing that has to happen, and unfortunately, this is the case where most men are eliminated. She has to be attracted to you in some form or fashion. This doesn't mean looks attraction. It doesn't mean that she needs to be attracted by your look. Now, it is helpful that she's attracted by your look, but there could be some other circumstances that she's attracted to. Like we said earlier, it's not really what you say, it's how you carry yourself, your demeanor, how you talk to people. You might even wave at a kid and smile. This could be things that make them attracted to you, make them interested. It could be that you're popular, you're famous, you're good looking, you're tall, you're muscular. You know, it could be any of these things. So it doesn't mean that you have to have some sort of standard 6'6". It could be that you're rich. It could be that you're generous with money. A level of something that women can find interesting is a guy that is not stingy. He might show up to the bar and buy everybody around. Hey, around for everybody. That could pull her in, as opposed to the next guy. He been hanging around with her for an hour, didn't buy her one drink. He been nursing his drink the whole time. She's going to get the ick about that. She's going to be turned off by that particular thing. Whereas the next guy comes in, is like, you know what? All right, around for everybody at this table. Fuck it. And you don't start simping and talking to the women. You just chilling over to the side. Now she might be like, well, this guy's interesting. Attraction. But generally, we're talking about she's drawn in by you physically and she's wet and moist. You're going to have a lot of success at this, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to conquer this. because you might not read the signs. Remember, we were talking, I don't know if we were talking about it here, but Asian women are poker face. We were talking about this on Locals. Asian women are pure poker face, but we know that they're freaks. Their population is out of control. All right. So we know that they fuck. We know somebody they fucking a lot. But with that being said, they're not going to give you the signs right away. Some women will, but more than likely, you cannot depend on them being upfront and forward. So you got to read the signs. You might even have to break the ice. You might not, even though she's attracted to you, you might have to reel her in. All right. Whereas other women are a lot more forward. Latinas, a lot more spicy and forward. All right. Obviously, women, once they're drunk, all right, they're going to be a lot more forward. They tend to be. All right. Hopefully they're not sloppy, but if they're attracted and interested, then you're going to escalate to the next level. And the next level is understanding that it's not really you. It's the idea of you that she's thinking about. She doesn't know who you are, but she knows there's something about you. There's an idea. She might think that there's a possible relationship. She might think that you might have the long Donkey Kong. Right, she'd be like, I know you got the Donkey Kong. She might be disappointed when she get back to that bedroom. I know you're gonna put it through my back. All right, I know you're gonna impale me. These are all examples of the idea of you. And while you thinking it's about you, it ain't about you. It's about what she believes you're going to do. I bet you're gonna fold me up and put me in a perfect place. I bet you're very dominant. I bet you're very what is it? I bet you're very romantic in bed. I bet you will smack it up, flip it, and rub it down. These are all the idea of you. And while your ego is thinking it is about you, she really, really don't give a fuck about you like that. Okay. She just wants to ensure that she gets what she wants. Now, she might give a fuck about you more if she's trying to get something long-term out of you. She might be trying to think about that if you want, and she wants to get you to cream pie her. But if you go back to that bedroom and she tell you to put a condom on, she don't give a fuck about you. All right. This is just a onesie twosie, a runoff. And she just want to get dark side choked and spike pile drived and clothesline from hell. That's what she's there for. The idea of you. In Asia, I experienced women say, this is my first few times with a black guy. I've never been with a black guy. You know, they may say something like that. That's the idea of you. It's not me. I just represented somebody that they just never maybe had much experience with. And so they want to go there. All right. That is me. I don't put my ego in that. And I always tell men this, don't put your ego in it too much because you can get your ego ruined really quickly here. For example, you're going into a seductive relationship with a woman and she immediately gets the ick and cuts everything out. You're like, what did I do? Well, it might be something you did. It might not be. It might be something you didn't do. But don't get your ego wrapped up into it. Because once she gets it, she might be disappointed. She might be further enthralled. She might want to continue that. And you just never know. Some women don't want to get their back broken. We talked about that. Some women don't want to get fractured and folded up. Some women do. Right? Some women do. All right. So in that idea, attracted, interested, she likes the idea of you. And then more importantly, to get it better, this is why women generally don't want to engage in hookup sex, is they want it warmed up. We talked about that earlier. They want to warm up. Warm me up. Okay, warm me up, which means in effect, she wants to go home and think about what you're going to do to her. So she meets you initially. You go through past that test, attraction. She likes the idea of you. You don't fuck it up. You don't put pressure on her. You give her attention. You remove attention. You bring a little bit of tension. All right. You're not rushing her. You're nonchalant. You get her number. Thank you, baby. And you move on. You know, I gotta, you know how niggas get their number and then continue still to talk. You get her number. I appreciate that. You know, I do have a business call I gotta take right now. I'll see you on another time. I'll engage with you. Expect a call on Monday. All right. These are all things that she might be thinking, okay, I'm interested. He said he's going to call Monday. I'm thinking about what he's going to do. She starts thinking about her set of panties and drawers that she's going to put on. She might start shaving her kitty cat in anticipation for Monday. There's the things that she's doing. Now that she's thinking about you, your inner mind, you no longer have to do that work. You don't have to get in there and ping and text her and keep the conversation going. You don't even have to tell her what you do for a living. She's not even answering questions about what you do. She might even trying to search up what you do. I wonder what his name is, but she's thinking about you folding her up like a love letter from the second grade. Okay. She might even meet you the first time or the second time and say, I had a dream about you. I had a dream about you. I had a dream about you was fucking another girl. I had a dream that you was out with another girl and she was ugly and I saw you and you saw me and I was hotter than her. These are all things women are playing in their mind to get their punani wet and warmed up. They're sharing that with you. She might call it a dream, but it's just her thoughts. I had a dream. No, she was thinking that. She was thinking that. So these are all things that they're thinking about here. She's thinking about you. She's imagining you. I imagine that you have a 6-pack. She lifts your shirt up. It's only a 2-pack. Ah, fuck it. That's a work. She imagines you got a hairy chest and your chest is not hairy. I mean, she already done worked herself up in anticipation. Now, what we thinking is, I wonder what her nipples look like. I wonder how fast I'm going to stick myself into her vagina. I wonder how long I'm going to last. Like, we don't think very much into this. All we're thinking about is injection, baby. That's all we're thinking about, and maybe sucking on her titties a little bit. That's okay. That's the fantasy itself. You're not even thinking about what color her drawers is. All right. You don't even do it. You just peel them off. All right. What you're waiting for is for her to arch her hips off the mat when you go grabbing at her panties. That's called consent. Silent consent, ladies. If I reach for your panties and your back is flat on the mattress, that means you don't want me to peel your panties off. But if you lift your ass and back off the mattress, all right, you want to get stuck. All right, that's consent. All right, that is consent. It don't have to be verbalized. That means you want this, and we have now agreed silently. We're silent partners. So that's all we're thinking about. But women have drummed up a whole scenario before you got there. If she has not done with this with you, you ain't in there. If you then have to force yourself believing that if I buy her flowers and candy and pay attention to her and take her out on a date, if I do these things, text message her in the morning, grand rising queen, if you think that's going to get her to that level, you're sadly mistaken. It's not going to get her to that level. But that doesn't mean she won't engage in a romantic relationship with you. That doesn't mean she won't date you or possibly marry you. But she has no feelings of seduction with you, and she ain't going to show you none of that dark, nasty side at all. All right. She's going to be the Madonna. All right. She is not going to be the whore to you. The last part here is the trusting part. So a woman has to trust you. You will hear women say things like, I feel safe around you. I trust you. What she's saying is she trusts you with her body. She trusts that you're not going to give her gonorrhea and syphilis. She trusts that that you'll cream pie her or pull out. She trusts that you have the wherewithal to read the room and know how to pick her up the way she wants to be picked up. Some niggas be like, I'm going to pick her up and throw her over my shoulder. She doesn't want to be picked up like that. She wants to be picked up where she can wrap her legs around your waist, picking her up in a certain way, putting her down, not throwing her on the bed where she bites her tongue. All right. Or you smash your nose together as you're falling to the mattress. These are all inexperienced moves where you can put her down with just enough effort. It's kind of like, yeah, all right, putting her down, not throwing her like a rag doll and going, God, she all around the fucking room. All right, this requires trust. It's like the trust fall. All right, the trust fall where you close your eyes and there's people behind you and you fall and they catch you. Well, if a woman believes you're going to drop her, she ain't going to trust you. If she believes you're going to be chatty Cathy and start talking about what you did to her and be on the internet exposing her, guess what? She's not going to trust you. Same thing goes with pushing and pulling. You know, when you're on the bed, she's sitting on the bed and you push her to the bed, lay down. You know, you don't verbalize it. Lay down and let me touch you and take off your bra. All right. Pushing her, pulling her towards you in a way that fits the fantasy. You pull her to her and dislocate her knee or elbow. All right. Okay. You pull her and she slide off the mattress. You pull her and her hair weave gets stuck to the fuck. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes into it. She has to believe that you're capable of doing this and taking care of her body. In wrestling, they call this, you know, taking care of the person that you're wrestling with, not slamming them and hurting them. You're not there to do that. You're there to even make this seductive and intimate, even though it can be brutal. You put meat in her mouth and then you go take the back of her head and you be like, you know, she don't want that. Now, eventually she might work up to wanting that, but not the first time. So if you go and do that and she go down to her knees and she give you the seductive look and start unbuttoning your pants and put all that meat in your mouth and you be like, yeah, and you start making her choke and gag. All right, she go, there go the seduction. All right, seduction out the window. Pulling her hair. You start pulling her hair and you start yanking. You don't gather it up in a nice ponytail. You just start yanking. She'll be like, whoa, holy shit. Like, this is painful. What are you doing? See, these kill seduction. She's got to believe and trust that you're going to do that. Pulling her wig out. She like, oh my Lord. Like, what are you doing? Nigga, this a weave. You done killed the moment in the mood. She's got to believe that you can engage in this. And this steps to this. She can eventually say, you know, I'm not feeling this. I feel like you're going to be dangerous towards me. Let's stop this. Let's stop this. This is too much. You spank her a little bit too hard, or you don't spank her hard enough. I've been in situations where the woman's like, you don't spank me hard enough. And I'm like, like, you're really brutal. You really like to be brutalized because I got a good hand. All right. But she wants to be tortured. All right. And then, you know, you start talking about toys and this type of stuff. These things happen. And of course, men don't want to accept that this happens and accept that their girlfriend engages in these behaviors before they get with you. These are the so-called men that they hook up with or have free sex, and you have to pay for that. It's because these men are seductive. They're leaning into her dark psychology of being roughed up and cuffed up. I'm going to play one more video here. This is a video, poor guy right here. This is a video of a female author talking about her early marriage brought a tough choice, ego stroke or a lifetime partner. Now, when she says ego stroke, I'm also going to say physically getting stroked. All right. So here's an ecclesiastical marriage. This couple, I think they've been together for 40 years. This is a beautiful woman, a nice little haircut. I'm not sure if that's a wig, nice graying. She's graying gracefully, beautiful skin. You know, she probably was all of that in a bag of chips back in the day. Now we got Henry over here. Somebody called him Henry Earl. Yep, that's what I said. Now we have Henry Earl, severely out of shape. You know, he's a good looking guy himself. You can tell he's probably pretty successful. He doesn't look pretty bad, but as you can see, you know, goofy nigga. Let's hear this. This is where you talk about, this is the type of situation where she doesn't feel like he seduced her, but he still was able to get a marriage with her. 40 years. Playing the video.
One of the things that I can say, you know this, in the beginning of our marriage, I remember going to my aunt and telling her, I said, yes, this guy, he's like paying me so much attention, and this attention that I don't get from Gil. And one of the things she said to me, and this is in the beginning of our marriage, when we first got married, we were in our 20s. I was probably 20, we were 21. And she said, do you want someone that is going to stroke your ego or be with you and spend the rest of their life with you? And I was like, wow.
Let me stop her right here. Now, look at this guy's pain on his face. So this is one of those situations like that. What was that? Beyonce's mama did this to that one dude back in the day. Okay, so she said, do I want my ego stroke or do I want to be with the guy that's going to be with me for the rest of my life? And I'm going to even say, do I want to be seduced? Does she want her punani stroked? Does she want to go with the dude that's giving her attention? That's going to be a flash in the pan, but going to be a moment of excitement. Or do I want to go with the steady guy? Let's listen further on this one.
She said, Gil loves you. Gil is an amazing person, but that person's personality and Gil's personality is different. It's really easy to be on 10 when you only got to do it for a week.
There we go. So it's easy to be seductive on 10 and have passion, romance, genuine burning desire, cream pies, regrets, STIs, plan Bs. It's easy to be on 10 for a few weeks. But if you want to be with me forever,
And that's you.
that's you, nigga. And look at this man.
I think that one of the things that I can say, you notice in the beginning of our marriage, I remember going to my aunt and telling her, I said, yes, this guy, he's like paying me so much attention, and this attention that I don't get from Gil. And one of the things she said to me, and this is in the beginning of our marriage, when we first got married, we were in our 20s. I was probably 20, we were 21. And she said, do you want someone that is going to stroke your ego or be with you and spend the rest of their life with you? And I was like, wow.
Wow.
She said, Gil loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Gil is an amazing person, but that person's personality and Gil's personality is different. It's really easy to be on 10 when you only got to do it for a week. It's really easy to be on 10 when you only got to do it for an hour a day. I would rather someone who is on 4 and they've been on 4 for 40 years. We have been together as a couple for 40 years.
Jesus.
And it's not to say that we don't have a great, passionate, loving, fun marriage. This is a time when I was working through how I felt and really coming to terms with what I wanted and what I needed. And so when I look at this, I look at how our relationship is.
Look at this nigga. What the hell? Oh my God. No way. This is when I tell women, y'all can fuck up a good relationship by running your mouth. I mean, why? He like, man, would this, hold on for a second.
Shut your bitch ass up.
But this is what happens when there's no seduction. This is an example of a situation where, yeah, the seduction is on low, but your reward for that is 40 ecclesiastical years with this woman, as opposed to a seductive fling where she's still thinking about Gil. She mentioned the dude by name, and it's been 40 years. She mentioned Gil by name, meaning that she still thinks of Gil. Gil still is a fantasy to her. On 10, Gil would have been on 10, but this nigga 4 for 40 years. Woo! Wait. So, like I said, you're gonna think, well, coach, I see relationships where the woman's not in this dark psychology, female seduction shit you're talking about. I said earlier, you can be in a relationship with a woman and this not be fulfilled. That doesn't mean she's not going to find that fulfillment in other ways. She might hire a personal trainer that satisfies that. She might not be never intimate with her, but that closeness satisfies it. That her thinking about that potential fantasy of him bending her over the treadmill exists as long as he exists. That still exists. She might reach out for that, but you can still get her in a relationship or a marriage and not fulfill this dark side of the fantasy. But that doesn't mean it doesn't go away. As you can clearly see, Gil still is mentioned 40 years later.
Now, compared to when I wrote this, and all of those things that I was looking for are there. The person that I wrote about then and the person you are now, you have grown and changed so much.
Oh.
And it's so beautiful to see.
Woo! Damn.
And that's you.
So when men say, Coach, I get it for free, I'm with a woman, and at least I can get a woman, there you go right there. That don't mean she fantasizes about you. That doesn't mean you get the dark side of her psychology and her seduction. You just there, my nigga. You just serving the other person. You've grown so good. Good. She like patting the nigga on the back. You so good. Good for you.
And that's you.
And this looked like, oh my goodness.
Here's William.
40 years of no wet punani. Golly. Oh man. What's his name? Henry? Damn, bro. They definitely from North Carolina or South Carolina. Oh my Lord.
The man you've become because of prayer, because of not tearing you down, because of not being extremely critical. Sometimes we plant a seed and we want a tree versus realizing that we're dealing with a seed. Relationships have to be developed and cultivated.
And I think that's something that's so important to understand.
I think that one of the things that I can say, you know this.
He came out and started talking. All right, man, the comments killing me on this one. Brother just blinked 3 times. We will come to save you. Allowing her to get it out without interrupting was refreshing. Fellas, remember, you're never her first choice. You're always the safe choice. Calling him a 4 for 40 years is hilarious. Okay. Why does this feel like Mike Tyson and Robin Givens interview? Okay. She didn't say he was a 4. She's said on 4. We got that. Imagine Gil and probably had over 100 other options of women, and he could have chosen to marry, and he realizes that he wasn't her first choice, and she considered him a 4 or consistently a 4. Damn, Gil, I'm sorry, my brother. Maybe he's Gil. Okay, maybe he's Gil. This feels like Will and Jada, and the other guy was Tupac. No disrespect. Gonna watch the full perspective. All right, he looks unhappy. No Chill Gil said, us Gils are 4s. Okay, that's Gilbert Arenas and Melanie Monaco. I always call her Melanie Monaco. Oh, man. Anyway. So he's Gil. I wonder who the other guy was. One more video of this type of situation, and then we'll close it up and then see if you guys want to say in this conversation. This is a woman. It looks like a Vietnamese woman. So we have a Ling that says she left a good man. And why? Let's find out.
From someone who left a 7-8 year relationship. For my ladies who feel bad that you have a good man, but it doesn't feel right. Don't feel bad for wanting more and leaving. My ex was 70% right, but there's just something off. And over time, that last bit will tell you everything about the relation. Even though I want all these things, I want kids, want the right man, I am willing to risk being single and alone forever for that Mr. Right, that man that feels right in every single way.
So here we go. This is what I was just explaining. This female seduction, this dark psychology, she has a man that's 70 to 80% good. She's willing to check out of that relationship to get what? The silhouette, the fantasy in her head. We talked about this. Okay, the man she's imagining that she thinks about. She might even know who this man is. Okay, the man of mystery, the mysterious guy. Okay, the guy that is calm and nonchalant. Okay, so this is where she is. And you know, in my opinion, I'm fine and fair with this. I've accepted this reality of this is why, for me, investing in relationships to me seems to not be, it's not interesting to me, obviously, and older women are not interested in me at all. All right, because of, you know, I see that what they're doing is purely manipulation. I don't value their love or anything that they can offer. They can be my maid, but that's about it. Now, when it comes to this is a sad reality. You can be 70 to 80% good. And like, by the way, that is very phenomenal. If you think of any statistic to be 70 to 80% good, other than free throws, you killing it. If you're gambling in Las Vegas and you win 70 to 80% of your hands, they're kicking you out of casinos. Like, you're a advantage player. If you're a sports bettor and you're winning 70 to 80% of your games, you're a billionaire. You got places that won't take your bet. Okay. If you're 70 to 80% in school, 80%, you're a B student. See, if you're 70% from the field in basketball, you're an MVP. If you're 70%, 80% in baseball, you're the greatest baseball player to ever live. Okay. Like, statistically, in most categories, 70, 80% is very good. All right. There's not many cases. Maybe in academia, that's a C or a B. But at 70 to 80% good in a relationship for a woman who was young, you getting put on waivers. You getting put on waivers. Like, what? You know, by the way, you're getting put on waivers. Like, you're getting traded for future considerations in sports world. Yeah, we trading you, but we don't even know what we want back yet. Maybe a sack of cash and a 4th round draft pick. Damn. The dude don't even exist. You traded me for picks in the 4th round and $300,000 in cash. Woo! You getting put on waivers for the man of mystery more that we perceive, but more than likely there's another bull in the ring, right? There's another guy. This is how women work. They're in a relationship with one guy. There's another guy that tickles her fancy. So she wants to give a chance to the second guy. She just not going to say that. Why? Because judgment. Okay. But she knows who the other guy is that she wants to give a chance to eat that cat. Okay.
Did you eat that cat?
The fact that I view my last relationship as something that I'm grateful for. There are things in that relationship that I will always look for moving forward. In my next relationship, like our friendship, me and my ex were like this in our relationship. And that is something I'll always look for. And I feel like when you could be grateful for that, you could find the right relationship for you down the line.
Yeah, this poor ladies, man. Women, you know, I be trying to give women the benefit of the doubt, but you know, birds. When it comes to relationship, birds. I can't just tell ladies, the way you think about relationships is completely goofy to me. Across the board, even if it gets to relationships and marriage and you meet some geeky ass nigga and you immediately tell this nigga not to fuck another woman on day number 2, you just immediately cut off all his hoes and expect dudes to cut off all they dating prospects. And it's just like, and he's valuable guy. Like, oh my Lord. Poor women. Like, look at the bird, look at the glassy eyes and the lack of depth of field in the eyes. I mean, she dead on the inside. What she wants, gentlemen, is to get throttled and dominated.
I like
that's
to
what she
get
wants.
dominated.
I like to.
Choked, whooped, spanked, told what to do. I need a man to take charge and let me just, be goofy.
That's what she wants. And she can't say it. Why? Judgment. She can't say it in front of her Vietnamese family that she want to get her hair pulled and smacked and spit down her throat and paddled and tied up against the board and picked up and thrown around and dragged around like a rag doll. She can't say that. And women can't say that. That's why they have to come up with, well, I like men 6 feet tall and because I like to wear high heels. She can't say, well, a man 6 feet tall obviously can pick me up. She's damn near 180 to 300 pounds. A man 6 foot tall probably is more capable of picking her up and making her feel small and making her feel little, like the little spoon, as opposed to a guy that is 5'8", 5'7". She can't say that in the bedroom. She likes to be dominated and picked up and thrown around. And that's going to be more likely carried out by a guy that is 6'2" and 6'3". The likelihood that he'll impale her increases as opposed to a guy that's 5'6". You see, this is the dark psychology that we're dealing with. She can't say what she wants. Her boyfriend didn't choke her, whoop her, and spank her. The next guy she wants to be choked, whooped, and spanked. Right? She want to be, that's what it is. All right, let me do the super chats, and I'm going to drop a link in here. We do have a few minutes related to this. If you want to talk about this, chat about this, is an opportunity for you to come up. And ideally, it would be helpful if you come up and have something to say other than, hey, coach, I appreciate you and shit like that. I know that you appreciate me. If you want to have something to say related to the topic, let me know. Rules for the show. You don't have to really have your government name, but your camera need to be on. You need to be fully dressed. If I ask you some questions, if you get on, I'm going to have some qualifying questions. And really, mostly this is for questions. And maybe if you're a woman, you can get up here and talk about this. This isn't an opportunity to debate me. All right. Don't come in here and think I'm fixing to debate you. I'm going to just mute you and just drop you off the call. Coach, I want to debate you about tricking. I don't give a, this is not the opportunity for doing that. The topic is female seduction. All right. Not religion, not your opportunity to pop off. And if you a content creator, don't come out here thinking this is your opportunity here, and keep it brief and quick. Get on and get off. Don't make this opportunity for you to teach. I'm here to teach, nigga, and I'm gonna be out here and coach, man. Let them cook and teach. I have a Filipina chick about to come over here. She's on her way. I don't have time nor the interest. Teach on your channel, nigga. Black women, put your wig and makeup on. I'm trying to get y'all black women up here. Take your rollers and your fucking bonnet off. This type of shit. You know what I mean? Don't be in here trying to make this show shit. But cam up. No trolling. We're not putting up with this goofy ass shit. Let me see if I can find the link with my old ass. Here we go right here. Stay on the topic. The topic is female seduction and all of that. Put a shirt on. We'll pin it to the description. We'll pin it to the chat. And if nobody want to come up, it is what it is. Nigga, I'm going to just get on out of here and get in the showers and get ready to do what I need to do. All right, for the rest of the night. Let's see if we got some super chats, some support. The Empire Podcast says, thank you, CGA. You're fucking awesome. Shout out to you. Have you seen a show like this? I mean, I know people do this conversation. I typically have stayed away from this conversation because I didn't want my content to be about this. And so thus men assume that I didn't know any information about this. But reason why I didn't bring these situations up earlier, because men get distracted by these conversations and they lose focus. I wanted the focus to be on free agent lifestyle, improving your lifestyle, building up your portfolio, investment, money mindset. I wanted the conversation to be about that. What men get distracted by are women. So if you make it about women, they're going to get completely distracted. And then that's going to be the conversation forever. And thus, you never improve yourself. You find ways to beat the system and then never improve your lifestyle. So I'm now incorporating into this because we have room for it. We have Free Agent Lifestyle 2.0. We done told fuck the world and the manosphere, all of that shit. And men just assume I didn't know what I was talking about because I never talked about it. But it was not the emphasis that I was trying to emphasize. Hustle Every Day says, women give men bad compliments. Say nothing, ma'am. Women are not good verbalizing. Women often think that they're good verbalizing because they run their mouth. All right. Oh, I'm good at communication. No, you're just good at running your mouth. All right. You're good at asking questions that you want me to ask back to you so it can guide the conversation back to what the fuck you want to talk about. And so I often have to remind women of this. You're not good at communication. You're good at talking. You're good at actually controlling the conversation through shame, meaning shaming what I say so that I don't have to say what I really want to say. And I just let you go off and keep talking. All right. They're not good at conversation. They're not good at communication. Generally speaking here, shout out to our brother here. Archie Engineer says, Ty Lawson, a former NBA player who was playing in China, got kicked out for that. So going back to the conversation about, is this possibly having intimacy with women getting paid for it? Ty Lawson getting kicked out allegedly from China for doing that. All right, shout out to Ty Lawson playing for the University of North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. He was a little guy too. Was he about 5'8", 5'11", so 5'9"? All right, 5'9" ish. All right, kicked out of China for doing that. He was making a little bit of money on the side. He said he was banned for life from Chinese basketball and dropped out after posting controversial photos and explicit comments about local women from a nightclub on his Instagram story. He shared an image from a night out, including a photo of himself with a woman in text remarks objectifying her and making crude slang comments about Chinese women. The backlash, the post triggered immediate public outrage, with critics accusing him of insulting local women and violating social norms. He got a lifetime ban from the Chinese Basketball Association. His response, he defended himself on social media by claiming people misunderstood his post and that the public was taking it too far, maintaining he meant no disrespect. Well, you're in another country. You might think that that's okay, but of course, in their norms, their culture, it's not okay. And especially as a foreigner, you can't get away with that. All right. Sad. When did this happen? I've never heard of this. This happened in 2020. Thank you for that perspective from Archie, for bringing that perspective here. Yeah. Making their woman look bad and you as a foreigner is not going to be taken well in developed nations. Right. Okay. Sheesh. Frank Moolah is going to be up here. That's a recognizable name. So we're going to pop him up on the screen. Frank Money Moolah is in the building. What's going on, Frank? What you got to say? I can't hear you. Oh, it can't. Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. Maybe I get some my audio. Go ahead and speak up.
It was me. My mic was off. I didn't want you to cut me off. But yeah,
okay.
Coach, it's a pleasure. I started a YouTube channel shortly after you kept making these messages about you got your the tool right in front of you, your phone. So I got a YouTube channel. You one of the inspirations behind that. But I do want to talk about the subject matter at play here. Seduction,
yes.
Women, female seduction. So I can speak for myself. I've dealt with, women giving you choosing signals. It's just a matter of picking up on the cues and knowing, when to, do the approach at the right time. And it's a multitude of things that can cause a woman to find you attractive or infatuated. I work out. That was one of my red pills when I first started, getting into the dating life, in my early 20s. I would basically be in the gym lifting weights. Women would recognize that and they would jump on board. And, I've had a lot of stories in my heyday. Shoot, I've had women who had dudes I was a dude on the side. They had like their brad that they were dealing with. And me being a dummy, I was kissing and telling in my early 20s. Man, yeah. I got into some trouble. One dude tried to beat my ass. He was a bouncer at a nightclub. The chick I was dealing with, you know what I'm saying? I dealt with her sorority sister. I would do like remixes for their sorors when they were stepping. And so she came over my house when I lived with my parents. The girl came along with her. I actually had a liking to the girl. She was a light-skinned chick. Then, being living with my parents, I'm sneaking them through the crib and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And this is not the only one, you know what I mean? But it came down to the fact that, I had this, my build, I said the right things, didn't judge them. That's the main thing. Do not judge them. Let them do what they do. Wild oats run free. And then you'll be able to reap the rewards. So, when it comes to women and how they express themselves, they like to explore. However, they use code words to speak on that, which I find very funny because of the fact that it can't be direct. Yet women want to claim that they're like the most communicative or most like intelligent when it comes to talking to gentlemen or men. But really, they always been covert the whole time. So for me, it comes down to, just expressing myself, not making them feel like they're being judged, not holding them, to that regard, because at the end of the day, I'm not even trying to take them that serious. All I'm trying to do is have a little fun, and hopefully, it can be long term. But a lot of the times, man, there's an expiration date, a shelf life when it comes to dealing with them. And I understand that. I don't come into the situation trying to fall in love. That's the last thing you want to do, because at the end of the day, they already have an idea of what their intention is to use you for. Some women just want you as a fling, and they'll allow you to come through. I'll give an example. I remember back
don't give an example. All right, that's enough. I appreciate you for popping up. All right, and dropping some games. Share your channel.
Down,
in the chat.
Level up, double down. I got a song on my channel. I just posted it on Friday. A song, Level Up, Double Down, is a theme song. Level double, just at symbol, level double on YouTube. You can find it.
Okay. All right, man. Shout out to you, man.
Hey, most definitely. Take it easy, guys.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to you. We have Chris Kobe. Chris Kobe is up next.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. Shout out to you. You're kind of low on your voice.
Okay. Coach, I just got to say, before we start off, you have saved me. I'm Gen Z 26, but I totally know what you mean. I'm going to sum it up quick. 26, and I met a girl around 24, white shorty, and man, hella manipulative. She's like, we'll go through these sprouts and come back. She'll let me spank her and choke her and, just do everything. And, at the end we broke up and, and it kind of messy. And she said she was going to go to the cops and say, I did all of this. Thank goodness I kept proof, like you said.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I just got to say salute to you, Coach. You saved my life. I'm not dealing with no shorty. I'm just stacking my bread and focusing on myself. Thanks for everything.
Okay. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate that, Chris. So he dealt with, there are toxic women that do this. They'll have these things like you'll put a hickey on their neck. You might, engage in some sort of nibbling or biting. We've heard, I believe the guy was a rapper, YouTuber, Young Philly. I did a story on him. He recently was in trial in Adelaide, not Alaska, Australia. And he had engaged in some biting and this type of thing and spanking and humiliation. The woman consented to this. Now, she withdrew consent. She was actually pleasured about the experience. She left the hotel. She was pleasured about the experience, but she later felt that the guy was disrespectful to her, calling her a fat pig and all of that stuff. And what happened was, when she started to think about it, she started to remove consent and reframe the situation, possibly even engaging in some text messages to say, maybe you left some marks or some bites. Well, these are the screenshots you need to take. Whereas these were things she consented to and maybe wanted to engage in the dark fantasy seduction level, but then she removed to consent from it if there's a breakdown or fracture in the relationship. I find that, in my experience, this might not be your experience. This is my experience. I find that Latino women do this quite often. This is a basic generalization. Latino women typically are going to engage in this type of revenge. All right. Where they just want to get revenge on you. They're spicy and sexy, but of course, if they don't get what they want or get their way, they're going to go back into this index or portfolio of text messages and completely reframe the conversation. Then I would say white women would engage in this type of stuff. Then, blacks, then Asians. That's my order of women who would typically engage in this type of shit, which is basically they're just trying to get their way and humiliate you. And thus they're going to let you put hickeys on them, let you bite them, let you spank and whoop them, dominate them, pull hair. And then they'll mention it in a text message. All right. They'll mention it in a text message. Hey, you pulled my hair a little bit long. You left a bruise on my elbow. Okay. Okay. Now, when she does this, you got to know that she's framing that so that if she needs to use that later, you haven't screenshotted that, she coming back with that. Especially if she's taking a picture of it and she got in the mirror and sent you a picture. Look at this bruise you left on my elbow. Yeah. Just know, once the relationship ends, if it ended poorly, you getting got. All right. She's going to use that later on, or she has the ability to use that. And that's what she's signaling to you when she communicated. Remember, Frank Moolah talked about it. They're going to be very indirect. They don't come directly and say, hey, I'm going to save this later just in case I don't get what I want. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to do it, but that's an example of it. That's why there's a fine line here between this type of behavior. This is the fine line. They want this type of behavior. They want this type of intimacy, especially younger women. They want to engage into it. They'll volunteer for it. They'll consent to it. And then later on, I got judged poorly from it. You treated me poorly. I didn't get what I wanted from the end. You withdrew your affection from me. Revenge. Revenge time. This is where guys will say I wouldn't engage in these type of actions with women. But of course, well, now you're not going to be able to enjoy her squirting all over your mattress. You're not going to be enjoying, tossing her around and spinning her up. And now, you don't get to enjoy it. So that's going to be your point. All right. Shout out to the two guys that jumped up here and, bravely put themselves on the screen. It takes a lot of bravery to put up yourself in this type of situation. Shout out to the almost 800 people here. We're going to end the stream now and get prepared for tomorrow. But before we do that, we have a guy that jumped in. Okay, so let's see here. Coop jumped in, and I saw that Natty was in here. Go ahead and jump on here, Natty. You don't got your wig on? Okay, Coop.
Oh,
what's up, man?
Cooling, man. Much respect, captain of the barbecue game.
Yes,
I've been
indeed.
in that soundbite as a recently. You still got it on there?
I still got it right here.
It's barbecue in there.
That's what I like to hear, man.
Yeah,
that's what I like to hear. All right, so let's get into it. So the first guy had some questions, but he didn't really give you a chance to answer. I just want to kind of follow up and kind of ask it again. So he was saying like women that kind of give certain cues, like maybe for you to go ahead and approach. But women are very risk adverse. So they might claim they shooting a shot, but it can just be something like and that's them shooting a shot. So like can you kind of tell me about that as far as how they'll give certain clues? Is it a hair flip, a little side look, or is it covert shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just depends on the woman, the culture, the background she comes from. Like Asian women are going to do it one way, black women are going to do it one way. I think typically if black women do it, they're going to stare at you or maybe give you a look for 2.3 seconds. If you're really a highly attractive man, they may approach the guy and ask and say something stupid to the guy. Right? Didn't I see you before? Didn't I meet you before? Didn't you get my phone number? Didn't you try to flirt with me before? This is what black women will do. And if you're not highly attractive, but she's interested in giving you a chance, she might neg you. All right. She might say something negative towards you, but she's interested into you. This type of thing, combative. This is how they type of do things. This avoids rejection. This inserts plausible deniability. I wasn't hitting on you. So if she says something backhanded and you respond and you engage in some sort of witty banner and she says, oh, he can put up a fight, and then you reject her, she could say, well, I wasn't interested in you in the beginning. I was just talking to you and telling you to fix your hairline or, grow some hair, nigga, or grow some inches. You see what I mean? So it just really depends on how it is, how old she is, how young she is. Older women tend to be more upfront and approach and shoot their shot, maybe talk a little shop or business. So I can't say what a woman's going to do. I've seen a variety of things that they do.
Yeah, I'm not King 6'8", you know what I mean? So they ain't quite just choosing up like that, I mean, some would do, but it ain't really, it ain't the ones that I want.
Correct.
Because I'm in decent shape and whatnot, but it's like it's the fat ones, older women.
There you go. Yeah.
And
I always say it's the women that work at the DMV, big fat woman in the back at the DMV with the fucking 72 ounce of Mountain Dew. Hey, black man, you mighty handsome. You know what I mean? And she got the teacher on. I'm like, oh, so when men say women never shoot their shot, that's false. I get bitches at the DMV, all kind of shit shooting they shot. Old women and scrags and, oh, you kind of handsome and you would make a good, but like you said, is it the women that you want shooting their shot? Well, the women that are highly attractive, they really don't have to do much to get approached because they're getting approached without shooting their shot. So they really don't have to say much on a general basis anyway. So they are not going out willingly saying, I got to do this above and beyond thing to get attention from a guy. Unless you're highly, highly attractive to her, which that's most likely the case when it's not the case with most of us.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's I'm working on getting that bag up and stuff right now, man. And so I've been rocking with you for a while. I would say since you were in the old place before you moved to the Desert Storm bunker.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I've
Shout
been
out
paying
to
attention.
you.
I got both of your books. So
okay.
Last question. I want you to sign one of them. So the thing is, I really want to know if you're going to be going to the conclave in Vegas, because I
I'm not
will
sure
be
yet.
going. You're not sure yet? Okay,
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Yeah, got you.
But if I'm there, I'll sign it, no problem.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll find out, eventually, whatever. But I'm going ahead and flying out there.
Okay. If anything, I'll go to one of the parties or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because we're gonna be kicking it afterwards, stuff like that. And so,
Yep.
you know what, this guy does probably know all the little spots and everything.
Oh yeah.
And
might
it's
show
funny
out
how you
out
kind of
there.
telling me how like some of these ladies like work carpet out there, because
Yes.
I ain't never been to. I've been to Vegas once, but I was working, so I didn't really get to enjoy it. So now I'm finna go ahead and pop on out there.
Yeah.
Kind of get to
Yeah.
see it. Full force. Any suggestions? No, any like nightlife or casinos I should visit? Something that might be kind of popular.
Oh man. Well, if you come to the conclave, I'll come out and I'll take y'all out. All right.
Yeah. All right. That's a bet.
Yep. All right, brother. Nice to see you, man. Okay, we have oh, by the way, some people will say other things about how women may approach you. Some women may start a conversation. They may say, "Hi, how you doing?" They may be interested in what you're doing. They may be generally interested because they are interested in you, or like I said, the idea of you or the what you're doing. So, when I'm in the Philippines, the women that are interested tend to be talkative, but they're still shy. So I want men to understand they're not going to carry the conversation. They're not going to carry the conversation. A woman's not going to be like, "Hi, I'm interested in you. What's your name? Where are you from?" Like, they don't have that game. They don't have game like that. And they don't feel the need to do that. First of all. Second of all, they're not good with rejection. So they're not going to do 5 lines and then get rejected. Most of the time, they're just going to go, "Hi," and see where that shit goes. All right. Okay. I shot my shot. Okay. It takes a lot. So be careful with men believing that women are going to carry that shit so far. Once they feel like, especially in like those Philippine area, once they feel like they giggled and smiled, that's about it. And their culture doesn't lend towards them carrying the ball to get your phone number. Okay. Their culture doesn't lend to that. There's the people in America where our culture doesn't lend to the woman going, "Hi," giggling, smiling, and then asking you the phone number and where you from and what's your name. And they're not going to go that far. You have to get, you have to be willing to pick up the slack from there. And it is hard for us to ask. It's hard for us to do the ask. No, every dating coach knows this. It's hard to close. It's hard to ask. Okay, yeah, we have a conversation. Let's go ahead and ask for that number. Let's go ahead and ask for that Instagram because we don't want to get rejected. Hey, this conversation went well. Let's go ahead and communicate. Another reason is women will put up objections. So while the conversation is good, she's standing in your face, smiling and cheesing and nodding. You might say, "Okay, good. Let me get your phone number." I don't give out my phone number. All right. Well, what about your WhatsApp? I don't got WhatsApp. What about your Instagram? See, the woman's not going to say, "Oh, I don't have a phone number. How about my Instagram?" She's going to wait for you to bring the shit up. More than likely, that's how it's going to work. "I don't have Instagram. What about your TikTok?" "Oh, yeah, I got TikTok." "Okay, bitch, you could have said I'll give you the TikTok." You see what I mean? Like, they're not going to let you easily go off. And I'm going to end it on this. I'm going to end it on this. Another reason why they do this psychologically is because that if there is any interest in, let's say, for instance, she's looking for a relationship, she's looking for intimacy and her to trust you. If you have the idea that she's easy to get, then that means that she's going to lose value because you're going to believe that everybody can easily get her. Again, remember, women are complicated. This is why relationships are messed up, because women overthink, they're overcomplicated, and they often pass the buck off to the man to carry all of the load and the weight. They're often carrying social judgment, and they don't want to be perceived as easy or forward or a whore. So if she makes it easy for you, then if there is a relationship, she's always going to have in mind that you believe that she's easy to get. So let's say, for instance, she's a waitress and she laughs and giggles and smiles, and I think she's interested in me. And I ask her, "Hi, Tiffany, you signed my receipt with the little heart. What's your name? Let me get your phone number." She's going to put up all kind of objections, because even if she's interested in you, she's not going to make it easy for you to get that number. Because let's say you get her information and you eventually get a relationship with her, you're going to believe that while you're at home or at work, Tiffany's at the restaurant giving her phone number to everybody. Damn, that bitch, I got her number and fucked her on the first night. You're going to believe that that's what Tiffany, your girlfriend, does to everybody that asks for her phone number. So if she makes it easy for any man to get her, and you get into a relationship with her, you're going to believe that she's easy to get by anybody. And that's going to have trust issues and all of that shit across the board. So even though she's interested, like that one brother that was here, and be polite to these men in the comments. Okay. These men are jumping up here, showing their face. So the guy was saying that, well, what do I look for? And what is this? If she's seen as easy, because we know how we treat easy women. Look at this easy bitch, man. I just got her. She was all in my face smiling. I got her number and I took her right to the back and drilled her, nutted in her cream pie. What? Now she is giving off you've automatically diminished her from that. You've lowered her quality. You don't consider her anything. You don't even want to hook up with her again. You're like, this nasty floozy, sleazoid, schizoid. She's lost value. She can't leverage a relationship from you anymore. Not only that, if you get into a relationship, you're certainly not going to trust this type of sleaze bag skeezer. So that's why they make it hard. That's why women tend to make it hard. Rejection, fear of rejection. Then you looking at her as easy. If you get into a relationship and marry her, you're going to think everybody can get her fucking phone number. So that's why it becomes a little bit of a difficult dance. That's why they can't be forward and they got to be, like Frank Mullah said, they got to be covert and can't be really direct. They got to play with their hair. This type of shit. So that's the difficulty of the dating dance and scenario. That's why typically men that are confident, they're forward, direct, men that have abundance of women, men that have experience with women, men that are older and calm. All right. A recent young woman that I was dealing with, she was like, "You're so calm. I'm used to dealing with younger guys and they're just, rabid and they're trying to get right to it and they're trying to go out to the nightclub," where she started dealing with me and I'm just sitting back, cool, calm, and collected. Now, this and that, not overexcited. She ended up, this was not a girl that was a pay for play, but she was a girl that I made off a dating app. And she was like, "I'm not going to hook up with you. I hope you're not looking for that." I was like, "Just come and meet me. Don't worry about it." As soon as she got in front of me, 2 hours later, folding. All right. Won her over with seduction, just simply chilling out, being sort of air of mystery, calm and collective. And that's what she kept noting. "You're so calm. You're so nonchalant. She said, "I like this." this is great because the young dudes my age, they just clamoring and scraping all over me and trying to drool all over me and trying to peel my clothes off. You're just sitting here calm and I had a drink here. You can get a drink, order something off the menu. Okay. I'm not trying to rush her to the hotel room. I was ready to see her off. Hey, it was good meeting you. Maybe we'll meet another time. She was like, I don't mind coming up and hanging out longer. Okay, cool. But I ended up having a JUCO scheduled right after her because I was double booked. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't intend to hook up with her. That's why I didn't want to hook up with her, because I had a JUCO planned after her. So I was like, oh, she want to come to the room. So I at the JUCO standing downstairs for 30 minutes. She texted me. I'm like, oh, I'm wrapping up a call. I'm wrapping up. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get the girl out the room and she jumping back on the bed for round 2. I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, this. I'm like, damn, this is a damn shame. I'm like, damn, I'm telling the girl, hold on, wait, I got to get in the shower and change the sheets. Anyway, but you know, some men don't understand that. Men are clear. Well, women don't like older guys and women don't like this. That you can't go through life like that, thinking that women that are that easy to figure out. Even if you're the most common dating coach, their best success rate is 3 to 10%. That's the best dating coaches. That's the best success for it. For you to say a woman doesn't like this, she likes that, you dead ass wrong. All right. You cannot easily sum up women like that. You can say some women are like that, but even I know I can have success with women like this and it can be fluid and easy. Then I can have another woman in front of me and it's like a fucking root canal. Same tactic, same shit that I was using on this woman is like a root canal. This woman, easy. So, never simplify this type of thing. All right. Never simplify it. Know that there's a lot of things that goes on here. And of course, depending on who you are, it depends on that too. What are we doing here? Shout out to y'all. Let's see if I have some support. I got to hit the showers here. Got my shit lined up over here. Someone say I need energy like you. Yeah. Not a lot of people can keep up with me. And of course, not a lot of women can keep up with me. I'm not for one woman. So women be like, oh, I'll be your girl. And they think they gonna fuck me 2 or 3 times a week. You're not gonna make it, baby. You're not gonna make it. I'm just gonna tell you, they're gonna need to be 2 other women. Don't think I'm gonna be cool with no 2 or 3 times a week. They're gonna be no. All right. The other brother entered the studio. I gotta go because I gotta hit the shower. So I'm gonna have to pick you up on the next show. Ran says, everything you talked about tonight is why I'm on the dark side, because it's the only place, time and place where both parties are honest and upfront. You can't be honest in normie dating 100%. And I think that's why a lot of guys think that when you do the sugar baby thing is tricking and the woman does, in their mind, oh, the woman don't like you if you pay. No, guys, that's not true. A woman, part of seduction is providing a safe space where she doesn't have to think about payment. Like, okay, yeah, let me book you a ride. I got a black car coming picking you up. Pussy's wet. All right. Wet. Why? I jumped over a bar you're not willing to jump over. All right. She willing to break all the rules at that particular point. Just like that. Now, it don't matter if she getting paid after that. She might get paid or not. She might even remove the payment from there. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right. The payment barrier is there for the niggas that don't want to pony up anything. She might put that up there and see what you do. Well, let me see what this nigga do. All right, yeah, whatever, nigga. Come to bitch. All right, here, I'll send the car for you. Come on through. I got this. We got reservations here. You already jumped over the fucking bar. It's over. She already found you somewhat attractive, right? So it's a wrap. All right, it's inconsequential at that particular point, and that is a part of seduction. That can play into the seduction. You provided a safe space for her to, you know, not worry about booking her ride and her fucking credit card, Cash App crashing. So, you know, people don't realize that plays a part of it. And what they'll do is avoid doing it, thinking that the woman's finessing you, when in reality, it's a part of even enticing and seducing her. She's like, oh, maybe there's more there. Maybe there's more. Maybe I do like him more than I thought. Maybe this is an interesting guy. What's another area of seduction? You have your own place. You walk in, here's the guest room, here's my private gym. She on the kitchen island on all fours. Why? Because women value nests. They value stability. That's part of attraction. You don't have a roommate. You don't live with your mama. You don't have your kids so that's part of attraction. She's like, damn, I can be in here walking around naked, fucking on the kitchen table. That's part of seduction. That provides a safe space. It's clean. You just jumped over the fucking broom. You just jumped over the broom. Crazy. Now she can do all the nasty shit she been wanting to do with the other dude she's with, but he don't have his own place. All right, I have a woman that I have, a normie chick that I deal with. She lives with like some relatives and some friends, so she can never have guys over her house. The previous guy she was messing with, or that concurrently she's messing with, he doesn't have his own space. Guess what happens? She can't get as freaky as she wants. As opposed to me, completely different. I have my own space, my own room, my own bedroom. Bitch can holler and scream and do whatever the hell she want to do. That's part of seduction. Okay. Now she can get freaky and get choked, whooped, spanked, play with her toys, get tossed around the room and get hollered at, and wear a mask and get dog walk and wear a chain and get put in Nova's crate. You see what I'm saying? That goes into the dark psychology of women. But dudes think that's some sort of level of tricking or paying. I don't know, man. You really got it all backwards. Really got the shit all backwards. And you can't do that shit at your mama's house, G. But I can do it at my crib. So I'm going to go ahead and fold her ass up like a love letter from the second grade. It is what it is. Shout out to the Coach Gang, brothers. We out of here. We going to do a show tomorrow. I got some energy. Peace.